channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen. Repurpose 3030. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen.
Hello, Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. And we've got a brand new show, Repurpose 3030. I'm really excited about this, extremely excited. I think we got a bit of an echo there from maybe from Tammy. If we get too much of an echo, I'm going to launch into a Queen song. Hallelujah, hallelujah, big row. No, we've solved it. Joking. So this is Repurpose 3030. It's a live show on LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube. The replay will be on YouTube, and the highlights in the form of articles will be on Substack. We'll tell you about that in a minute. And if you're on LinkedIn, please comment there, and we can have lots and lots and lots of fun. So the show will go as long as it goes. And we're going to talk all about how we're repurposing our content. There's a couple of really key points I want to make just at the start. What is Repurpose 3030? It's a goal that we have set as a community to help each other make 30 pieces of content in 30 days. Now, some of us are already doing that, and we're going to help to decode how we do that. We're going to talk about what is your most best performing content, what type of content works for you, and share that for the community. We're going to talk about how to repurpose what you have. We're also going to talk about where to put it. And we're also going to talk a lot about Substack, and especially about Substack Studio, which I'm doing in July. Now, we'll come back to that because I want to focus on the live component now. But let's introduce the guests. Tammy, you had a bit of trouble. Let's start with you. What have you got a signal now?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Now we've got people from all over the world. Cyrus is calling in from Manchester, and the UK is the number 2 communication device for me on Substack. United States number 1, 86% or something ridiculous. And I'm going to talk to Tammy about this in a minute. And the UK, 8%. So welcome, Cyrus, and jump in if you want to talk. We're talking about repurposing your content. So Tammy, you've got a signal. I know we'll start with you. You've got a really cool site called Inkwell. I've never heard of it, but what does it do? And I want to share this with the community. Inkwell.net, yeah?
Well, here's the interesting part. It's just been named Inkwell. It's actually a project inside Claude. So I am taking all of my proprietary information with my clients and the work that I do, transcripts, testimonials, my methodology, and placing it in the project in Claude. And so that every time I go to create content, it's literally creating content in my voice. And that project has been named Inkwell. Sorry about the confusion.
Oh, no, this is good. I'm starting to understand this. So Claude it has this name for certain features. So whenever you create your own AI, they call it a project, yeah?
Right, exactly. So it's customized, and I load all of the documents, which I already have on my Google Drive. And so I upload these documents into the project, right into it, and it holds it as memory. So every time I put in a piece that I want to talk about or ideas that I have, just brainstorming, it will brainstorm with me to come up with an article using all of the documents that I've loaded into it to make it and be in my tone and my voice. And it's basically like we're co-writing it. I don't take the exact article and then publish it. I go through it and edit it or add more personal touches and just making sure. But that's really essentially what I'm doing when I'm creating content for Substack.
And is it your project, or did someone else create this?
I learned how to do this in the community that I'm in, and my mentor taught us all in a workshop how to do this, how to create this specifically so that our writing can be a lot easier. And second to that, we also use our human design um, that gives us more like a profile of like how we are and what our strengths are, what our gifts are, things like that. That allows us to be very specific. So, like, I know based on my human design what my leadership style is like, who's going to be receiving my voice, and who it speaks to directly. So it's very specific.
This is actually really good. This is exactly what I want to talk about today. We just like what you've just done there. I use a site made by a friend of mine in Brazil, Savannah Bay. Now, what I do is I use Perplexity to create my articles, and then as you said, you go through them and you say, "Yeah, look, that sounds about right. I'll just change a few things," and then I pump it into Savannah Bay, and then it says, okay, well, this is not bad, Keith. It's if you wanted to get reach, obviously you want people to read this, right? So I reckon it's about 6 out of 10, 60%. Why don't you try this, right? So Savannah Bay, I use it every day, and I'm proud to say that I've got my articles to 100%, and that I'm averaging about 400 views a day. There's no point writing if no one's reading it. I can't see the point of writing articles if no one's going to read them. So I'm trying to make sure that people read them, and about 400 people do. So have you been tracking the stats of how these well-written articles go?
The stats I just use right in Substack, and to be honest, my podcasts right from the get go have always had a greater, like a farther reach than my articles, because my podcast is being pushed out to YouTube, my YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a handful of other ones. So I don't know, in combination of all of that RSS feed being pushed out to those channels is the reason why. But it really has a lot of detail in the Substack stats section. I can tell specifically if I'm going to load a podcast episode. Substack will ask me if I want to email all of my subscribers that I've just published that. It will also tell me how many people have opened that email and give me my open rate percentage. Things like that, like all the details. I love the stats. So
now, look, I think this might be a Canadian thing. Jason, can you hear that sort of terrible audio, that crackling Dalek sound?
Yes, I heard it. Oh, I think we lost Keith there for a second, so let's keep the show alive until he gets back. Here he is.
Now, did you hear that crackle? I mean,
Yes.
So what was happening there, Tammy, and this is very poignant because yesterday a friend of ours in Alberta had the exact same problem. So we are very, very interested in whether this is a Canadian problem. And I created, just for fun after breakfast, I created this Dalek. You might be too young to remember who Doctor Who was, but Daleks, were very popular. And so Doctor Who had this really cool monster called the Daleks, and you sound like a Dalek. And I'm just wondering, is there something wrong with Canadian internet today, or is it something inherent with that side of Canada? Because Jason, who's in Alberta, also had this problem. And have you come across this, Americo, in your dealings with the internet? Is it a Canadian problem, or is it just a random sort of problem we have with sound?
Well, I hope it's not a Canadian problem because most providers have upgraded their entire networks to 5G, and we shouldn't be sounding as grainy or as mechanical as we are. But you're right. It has been 2 days, and the root cause has come from Canada.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
I know it's all part
Don't
of the
be
fun.
sorry.
This is, I actually said jokingly, and I'm quite happy to concede this.
Well, I just Googled it. So yeah, it's actually a thing.
What's that?
Because Restream routes Canadian traffic through US based servers, international latency and local connection stability are the most common culprits for drop frames and buffering. So that's what the problem is. It's because I'm in Canada. And I'm actually on my phone because Restream will not unmute me on my laptop. So
Okay.
I don't know.
So I might go and get the URL dalekradio.com.
I'm so sorry.
And so we can just make a fun of that. I mean, the thing is that I live in Melbourne, Australia. Someone wrote a really lovely article about this today, and I do this show in the back of my house, an hour from the city, and I could go into the city. I mean, Melbourne has 6 million people. Australia today, Bing, cracked 28 million people, right? So there's 28 million actual people in Australia. I could hang out with Aussies. I choose to hang out online because I think I have more interesting conversations with the global mindset rather than just people who live in Australia who talk about different things than we do. So I'm very happy to bear with the internet issues. But why don't we bring in Zakia, because she's actually created a project. I don't know if she would call that a project, but we've talked about Inkwell, Zakia. Is your new tool done in a similar way? Did it use AI to create a project which you've then branded as your own? Is that how you did it? I don't want to give away too many secrets, but can you tell us about what your site does by comparison to, say, Inkwell?
I wasn't here. Hi, everybody. I wasn't here for the Inkwell discussion, and I don't know what it is, so I'm not sure that I can do a comparison.
Yeah, I've sent you a link to it on DMs. Basically, it's a site where you punch in your data and it tidies up your language to speak in your voice, and then it creates.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think it's the written word being tidied up to be better written words. I don't think it converts audio to text, does it, Tammy?
It does. It's actually a function right in Quad, but I'm looking at inkwell.net. I wonder if it's similar.
Yeah.
The Claude project doesn't take MP3. It'll take the transcript of it, though.
Okay. So Claude takes the transcript and then tidies it up and turns it into an article. But I am really fascinated to get my head around what your site does, Zakia. I really apologize for not being on point there. I went actually had a human experience. I went away. I had a holiday. Can you believe it? I left the house and got on a plane and we went to Tasmania, which is like a little Canada, all sort of crunched up together in a place the size of a shoebox. So it's a very cool place. It's a very cool place, but it's very small. So we went there for a week and it was very romantic. And so I feel very refreshed. But as a result, I haven't been able to do much online stuff. So I would love to hear about your site. What's it called? What does it do? How can people try it?
Oh, sure. So Convolin is an app that I vibe coded from scratch. So it's not a wrapper for another tool. I went in and I gave it my project specs for what I was after. But Convolin is a conversation intelligence platform for the entire life cycle of any important conversations you may have. So that may be for podcasts, that's like the natural one. But then, even if you're doing interviews or meetings or live streams, anytime that there's an important conversation where you could potentially forget what it is that you want to say, or you want to prep your guest, or you want to have a professional presence for your show, Convolin is the answer for that.
Yeah. And Convolin is a site that helps you think clearly, structure your thoughts, communicate with intention in real time while the conversation is still happening. This is very important. This, I think, is the missing link for a lot of us. My shows go 4 hours. There's just no way I can capture everything that's going on there. And I am aware of this. So I'm very excited about this. You created this yourself. Very impressive. How does that compare to what Inkwell does? Tammy, does it sound like a similar idea? Or I'll send you the link if you want to have a look at it.
Yeah, send me the link. I'm not too sure in comparison, but yeah, I really enjoyed the invite, but I'm gonna have to hop off, Keith. I'm having too many tech issues on my end, so we'll converse over chat. Thank you.
No worries. So DalekRadio.com, over and out. Let's get back to our regular scheduled programming. Do you have problems with Canadian internet? Have you heard of this problem before? I've got 2 out
No.
of 2 that tells me this. My friend Jason in Alberta and my friend Tammy in Vancouver, they sound like Daleks when they call into my show. This is the true cyborg. Mike is there having fun with his comments, the true cyborg. And you are right, mate. I left the house. And I'm not ashamed of this anymore. I love the internet. And I'm not a big fan of getting on a train and going into the city. I'm not. I just don't like it. But I love talking on the internet. I love it. I could do it all day, and I do. You know, my shows go for 4 hours. So let's talk more about this repurposing idea. Okay, let's give some case studies of how people could use it. I know it sounds like a good idea in theory, but let's talk about some practical, real examples of what Convolin can do.
Oh, sure. So it just depends on where you are. I guess the easiest use case is a podcaster. Generally, if you think about when you're sending someone to listen to your podcast, you have to know where they like to consume their podcasts. Is it on Spotify? Is it on Apple? Is it on YouTube? Is it on Substack? So it's all of these places, and it's trying to make the user experience that much better. So you get one central place to send people, and it's automatically created for you with an RSS feed. So I think that's the easiest use case. Another use case is when you're preparing people for your show, or if people are applying to be on your show, you can have some standard questions and fill up your own pipeline of people that want to be interviewed on your show in a professional way without you having to juggle a bunch of emails or direct messages, and then also sharing with them the link to be able to join your show. And all of this is free. Like, we haven't even gotten into the intelligence piece of Convolin. This is just scratching my own itch of what I needed for my own shows, because I run 3 of them.
Yeah. One of the things, does it only work with audio, or can it work with the video component too?
This is an audio only solution. Now, you can still live stream from it, because when we go to the intelligence piece of it, that is where you have a live conversation coach that is listening to you and understands your business as well as whoever you're interviewing. And it can showcase to you different angles that you can go for based on the conversation.
Oh, I love this. I love this. One thing, and I'm going to send the link to Cyrus in the in Manchester. One of the things that I find is that, and I'm really quite proud of this. I do these shows because I love doing the shows, but not a lot of people come, and I am starting to get a bit tired of that. I'm starting to realize: am I speaking to myself? Am I speaking into the void? Because by comparison, I write an article and 400 people view it. Same effort, 10 times, 100 times the result. Same effort. And creators around the world have been having this conversation. Where do I put my energy? Do I put my energy into an article? Do I put my energy into a live show? Do I put my energy into a podcast? And obviously, if you had boundless energy and plenty of tools, you'd do them all. But what are you finding, Zakia? Which ones work best for you, and what are people finding about that?
Oh, that's a tough question for me to answer, because I have mixed feelings on it. I think a lot of the people who are asking, where do I put my energy, are probably asking the wrong starting question. It's, what is it that you're after with that energy? Is it just people listening? then yes, you probably should be putting your energy everywhere. We always have this discussion about me. It's who is converting and where are those people? For me, those people actually convert in person. The online stuff is what they use to research me after they have engaged with me in an in-person setting. So I'm not necessarily using social media as a distribution channel in the regular sense. I use it more as evidence of what it is that I've shared with them in person.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So the question really is, where is your audience? I want to
Correct.
share a really cool story about this. And where do they hang out? So if your audience is ... what do they do? Do they like YouTube videos? Do they like to read? Do they like to listen to a podcast on the train? Do they like to hang out in live streams? Are they on the shopping channel? So that's a very good question, and I'm guessing most people don't ask that question. Let's throw to America on that. In regards to the live streaming community, do you think that a lot of people who want to live stream understand where the community is?
Do they understand? Some do, right? Some people find themselves at different stages in their journey, but I really like what Zakia touched on, because it is so true. Social media channels work better when you focus on using them as visibility tools, raising awareness, help you become discoverable. And that's why so many people today are having such a hard time over on LinkedIn, pounding their heads and their fists on the table. My impressions are down, my engagement is down. Stop focusing on what's happening in that particular ecosystem. Look at the bigger picture, consider the bigger picture. How will people find you? Use LinkedIn because it is great for ranking your content, for scraping your content, and for helping you gain visibility outside of LinkedIn. But so many people get hung up on, no one's showing up for me on LinkedIn. You got to think beyond the platform.
I love this. I love this. I got all your comments there, Mike. I'm working my way through them. Where is your target market or your target audience, and where do they consume content? This is brilliant. Like, I had an insight yesterday, and I'm happy to run with this now. I do these shows to talk to people. I honestly don't give a shit how many people watch the replay. I honestly don't. I don't even track that metric anymore. If you come to the live show, you've got my attention. If you don't, you haven't. And that's it. I don't give a shit who watches the replay. I don't even track that measurement anymore. What I do for the people that can't come to the show, because I get that it's at a time that might not suit people, is I create articles on Substack for them. And those articles are going very, 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 very well. And I'm proud to say that, I'm getting about 12,000 views a month on my Substack account, which relates to about 400 people a day. Now, I'm not
But
getting
Keith,
any.
I have a question about that, because those 12,000 views are in essence replay viewers. They weren't there live when you wrote it, correct?
Yeah, actually, I'm happy to have this discussion. What happens? I'm really excited about this strategy. I write an article, and of course, the article comes out as a written article, and no one's seen it. And then after, it takes about 2 hours for the first 100 people to see it. I've done that in 1 hour, but it usually takes 2 hours. And then about 200 people usually read that article that day. And it usually over time, 2 to 3 days, works its way up to 2 or 3 or 400 views. Right? It's a very organic, natural process. Right? And I've got 106 articles now. So people who read that article usually hang around and read another one. And on average, I get about 400 views a day. So to the point of where is your target market, I do these shows because I love doing these shows, and I really, really, really want people to join. But I'm noticing, and we had this discussion really, really in depth yesterday. A lot of people are saying, "Mate, it's summer. I mean, I could be out having an ice cream. Why am I going to hang around on the internet when it's bright and sunny outside and I could be kicking a football or playing baseball or whatever you guys do there?" So why would I hang out on the internet when I could be outside? The sun is shining. It's warm. And you picked up on this pretty spectacularly, America, isn't it? In Toronto, the warm season is quite finite, isn't it?
It is. We'll get 8 weeks of high heat and outside, we'll sandwich that in with spring-like temperatures, mid-teens on either end, and then it's back to the frigid tundra.
Yeah, but I think my reason for asking that is maybe because you said you don't care about the replay viewers, but your articles are essentially replay, even though it's written text.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I do care about the numbers.
Right.
I love numbers.
Maybe it's the format that is the one, right? So maybe it is more of the written and less of the audio. Although you're really good at the social audio, if you're getting the results that you want and seeing those numbers the way that you want, I would triple down in that.
Well, it's very fascinating you say this, and I'll bring you in a minute, Cyrus. Could you add a thumbnail, please? This is an audio only show, and I want to just sort of double down on this audio only component. Could you turn your video off and add your thumbnail if you could for me? I have and I'm so glad you're asking this question, Zakia. I have seriously considered, and I've actually meditated on this. Could I live a satisfying life and not do live shows? Could I just drop this idea? Could I do it? Now, the answer obviously is yes, I wouldn't die if I didn't do the live shows. I'm not that addicted to it that it's linked to my respiratory system. But I would feel a bit hollow in my brain, in my mind, in my heart. I love doing these shows. And it does piss me off that people don't come. Like 150 people said they wanted to come on LinkedIn, and there's 4 people here. It pisses me off. But I get it. People are busy. And maybe live streaming doesn't suit people anymore. I get it. I've had to get it. Video killed the radio star. So I'm starting to ask the question, if these live streaming shows are not that popular anymore, what else do I do with this creative urge that I have? And the articles have filled that need in a way. It's not the same. So what I've decided is I'm going to do a series of shows for a month, because I love it, even if no one comes, because I've actually got enough songs to play for 1 hour if no one comes. I'm going to challenge myself. I've got a whole series of songs, 1 hour worth of songs. And I'll just talk for an hour. But, if no one comes, and it has happened, and I stop the show and I think, well, what did I do that for? I talked to myself for 1 hour. Nobody came. What am I doing? Is this a waste of time? I could have written an article in that time and had 200 views. So it's a very good question, Zakia. I'm right at the cusp of asking the question whether this format is even relevant anymore to me. I'm right at almost like at a pivot. And, entrepreneurs have this mindset all the time. If no one comes, what's the point? And we had a really good discussion yesterday about Stationhead, which is an interesting site. Mike, I don't know if you've tried that. I'd be interested to know what you think of that. And that's a radio format. So that's pretty interesting. But you've asked some very good questions there, Zakia. What do you think? Do you think this social audio idea is going away? Do you think we've had it? Do you think it's reached its peak and it's going away?
I don't think so. I think because you do genuinely love it the way you do, I think you also can, again, to your repurpose 30/30, even if you're not necessarily concerned with the views and all of that here, because you're going to get that when you create the long form content. So maybe using this as just that excitement or that joy of reaching
Yeah.
people across the planet, but then getting actual content that you can then publish on your Substack to continue growing those numbers. So I don't think it's a moot point. I think it's just adjusting the expectations of what you're getting from the different
Yeah.
experiences.
I think you're right, because and I'd be interested to know how other people do this with their creativity. This is a good segue. If for instance, and we'll have this discussion exactly, if for instance I decided in July, okay, no more live shows ever again, never, just stop it, kill it, cancel, restream, sell all my gear, I'm just going to write articles from now on. This actually happened to me in 1996 when I gave up music. I know exactly how this feels. I gave up music in 1996. I don't regret it. I sold all my gear, moved in with my wife, changed direction, just completely changed direction. Sold all my music gear, 1996. So I've done it. I know exactly how this feels. So if I decide, okay, from July 2026, I'm no longer doing live shows. I just know deep in my heart, I'll last about 2 minutes. And I'll go, well, what? What? I can't just wake up in the morning and write a blog post. I'm not that clever. I just can't, I just don't come to me. The ideas come, as you've suggested there, Zakia. The ideas come in this sort of confluence of discussion. Oh man, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. Let me do some research and create my own take on that. But it's your idea. That's why I didn't write my own songs. I was in a band, right? So the guitarist would come with a riff and the drummer would come with a pattern, and the keyboard player I was the keyboard player. The keyboard player would come with some sort of chord progression. The singer would come with a chorus he'd sort of sung in the shower. And together we wrote a song, right? Together we wrote a song. And the song was better for the four of us being together than it was by some one person bringing in, this is the song, and this is how we're doing it, and it's my song, and I've got 100% say, and you just do what you're told. Well, the bands don't exist like that. They can't, because people leave. Even the drummer once said to me when I wrote a song, this is actually pretty funny, the drummer, he plays drums, he hits skins that make a sound. I guess that's a musical instrument. That's a highly contentious concept. But he says, mate, I want to have my own take on this. I said, well, what? Okay, give me some alternative chords to the chorus. Oh, I can't play guitar. All right, well, why don't you just come up with an alternative harmony for the chorus? I can't sing. Well, then what are you saying? You don't want to play drums on my song, but you can't write your own song. What do you want? Right. So I get exactly what you're talking about, Zakia. I know deep in my heart that if I gave up these live shows, my creativity would shrivel up. I know that because have had this happen. So I think you're right. I'm just simply adjusting to the idea that I don't even look at the replays anymore because I can't. I just get too depressed.
I'd like to add something.
Please.
You and I were talking before we went live, and I had mentioned to you how because you're doing so well with your blog posts, and you enjoy the live streams just as much. Knowing where your community is most prominent and most supportive, I would say include a CTA, include that call to action in your blog post. Say, hey, I'd love to have this discussion live. If you enjoyed what you read, join me live, and invite those readers to the conversation and see if you have the same effect as the 1,000 people that you invite on LinkedIn, the 100 who sign up, and the 3 that show up. I'm curious if you tested this, if you'd have any change in participation.
I do love this idea. The thing that I love about Substack, this is why I fundamentally love it. Not only do I get 1,000, my highest score is a 700. Not only do I get lots and lots of views, but I also get a very strong sense of who they are, because the engagement's very high. Like I get lots of comments and lots of likes and lots of restacks, which is what Substack calls that. So each time I do a show or I do a post, I know who's communicating with me about it. Pretty cool. So it will be very easy, and I have done this. I haven't had much success, but geez, it's a good conversation to have. Billy's there if you want to join in. I've sent you the link. Diane is there if you want to. I've sent you the link. And Mike, if you want to come in, we're not connected anymore, but I'm sure someone else here can do that for you. I'd be very interested to know if you've heard of Station Head, whether that suits you with your music. It was a very cool conversation we had yesterday. But what I want to pick up on is this idea of where do we take this next? So what I'm doing, and I've got to concede, Substack Studio is not awesome, but it's free and it's pretty good for what it is. It's good for nothing. In July, I'm going to do this exact same format, like what you just said there, Americo. I'm not doing any live shows in July. I'm going to pre-record all of my interviews, my conversations on Substack Studio. So let's start there, but let's also morph into what else that can do. Could Substack Studio work with your new tools, Zakia, or have you worked out if there's compatibility?
Only if Substack provides you with an RSS feed for your podcast. That's the only way it would work.
And could your site work with the RSS feed for the blog, or does that only work with MP3s?
Only MP3s.
Okay, well that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, look, I don't think Substack has an RSS feed for its podcast feature. Geez, I'd love to know if anyone knows that.
I'm going to check it now.
Substack Studio records the information, and then you do with it what you want. You can. I don't even know if you can turn
But
it
I
into.
thought they had it. I thought they had it where you could import your podcast, and it was actually hosted on Substack. I'm checking now because I think
I think that's a note. I think they do that as a note.
Okay.
But let's ask that question. Please, if anyone knows, does Substack podcasts have an RSS feed? That's a pretty clear. I can Google that. We can perplexify it. Does Substack podcasts, or do Substack podcasts have an RSS feed? And for those who don't know, and I'm one of them, what does that mean? Why do you need an RSS feed to access your tool? And why can't I just punch in, and why can't I just send you an MP3?
Because then that would increase my cost. All right. The RSS feed is coming from where your podcast is being hosted. And so RSS stands for Real Simple Syndication. So it's syndicating out that MP3 so that I can play it. And that way I'm not paying for the storage of your MP3 file.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a purely functional. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Some people have joined and I didn't see them. Okay, that's a purely functional design for you. It's got nothing to do with limitations. It's just managing your workload.
Managing my cost.
Yeah. Okay. So when someone has an RSS feed, they're obviously going to have 2 or more podcasts in that series, I'm guessing. What does your site do with that?
You can go and check it out. If you go to convalin.com and go to the showcase, it'll show you exactly what that looks like.
Okay. I don't have an RSS feed. I have a SoundCloud account, but I don't think they have RSS feeds. I once tried this. I had a lot of trouble with it, but that's good. That's actually very good. We've got to talk about these sites as they start. I'm really interested in your insight, your inspiration here? Why choose an audio only RSS feed strategy? I would never have thought of that in a million years.
It was solving my own problem. I was not looking to build a SaaS solution. I was looking for a solution. I had 3 problems converging at one time. The first problem was, again, I'm running 3 podcasts, 3 different audiences, different everything. And someone would ask me all the time, where do I go to listen to that podcast? And then I would have a bunch of questions for them. Where do you want to listen? And I didn't want to send them to my website because my website can get overwhelming. So I needed a central place to send someone. The second part of that was I have guests that join on 2 of those shows. And oftentimes I would need to gather information about them. What's their website? What's their history? How do we actually mesh? So I needed to have that kind of insight. And then the third thing is, after I went through chemotherapy for the cancer treatment last year, I'm suffering from something known as chemo brain, which is you can be in the middle of a conversation and lose your train of thought. And so I often would have several stories and things that I would think of. And even at the end of a live stream like this, where I could say, man, I wish I would have thought of. Convolin was the way for me to feed it with all of those stories so that as I'm having these podcast conversations, it would surface that information for me and I would not lose my train of thought. So these were all problems that I was solving for myself. It started with podcasting and then it grew into conversation intelligence.
I just love that. I just love that. Let's run the room and get some understanding of this idea. Billy, you do a lot of podcasts. Do you have an RSS feed? I think you could be an ideal candidate for this product if you've heard of it. Do you have an RSS feed for your
Yeah.
podcasts?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what feeds, the platforms, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or what have you.
So you load the podcast onto a generic RSS feed creator, and then it then automatically goes to iTunes and or whatever they call it now, and Spotify.
Well, yeah, it doesn't automatically go, but the short of it is if you use a server from a service, like for example Spreaker, Libsyn, any of those,
Okay. Yep.
Podbean, when you create your podcast, initially you'll only be able to play the podcast on the platform itself. Let's say it's Podbean. Usually Apple Podcasts and Spotify are relatively easy to get on, so you submit your RSS feed to those and usually you'll get accepted. Some of the other ones are harder to get on. For example, Pandora and stuff like that is pretty hard to get on. They don't accept them all.
iHeartRadio. What about iHeartRadio?
iHeartRadio generally will automatically incorporate it. Yes. If you submit it. Yes.
And from what Zaki has been saying, can you see that this solution solves a few problems? Do you have any challenges with your podcast that AI could help you with? Is there any burning questions you've got for this idea?
Let me make sure I understand your question. What exactly what aspect of this service are you asking me about? Maybe I can answer you better.
Yeah. So Convolin is a site that works with RSS feeds for people that have podcasts.
Okay.
So I'm sure you've got it down pat. You don't need help, but I would imagine there must be parts of this strategy that think, oh, geez, wouldn't it be great if I could find a site that does? Is there any parts of your strategy, your funnel that you would like to automate?
Well, I am essentially. I think for me anyway, the straight production I kind of do manually, but let's say for example the promotion of the podcast, which a lot of times requires creation of clips, and I I don't know what to say about this. There was a lot of people in the past who would charge a fee for taking your hour-long video and selecting all the best parts and making clips out of them and doing all those kind of things. And now there's, AI automation that does that for you. So you can, submit your podcast into the software, and it will, depending on what's trending at the time, find the clips that are most relevant to whatever's going on at the time. It will add subtitles. It will add AI generated B-roll.
Bingo. Now we're onto it. Now we're onto it. Now you're talking my language. So you do these podcasts and they're great, and you've got that system working. But
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great if there was a site that could take little snippets of your podcast and make little clips that made people want to view more? Is this something that your site does, Zakia? Does it make little clips? Or I've got to be honest, I still don't understand what your site does.
Well, it's probably easier to try it. Yes, it does do that, but that market is completely crowded. We have it. This is more of the pre-session, during the session, and then it will create the stuff afterwards that you need. So, I don't think that I'm actually looking for people to try it. There's like a group of people that are actively using it now. But it is more of all the things that aren't managed currently. So all of the repurpose stuff, that market is a sea of red. What I've
That's right.
created in Convolin is definitely blue ocean strategy. This
I
does not
love this.
exist.
I love this. You are right. Of course, everyone in the world wants an easier way to edit their podcasts into little snippets. And there's about 1 billion sites that do that. So why would you try and play in that market? It's too many anyway, isn't it? There's just too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, yep. I think what I've got to do is, because I don't have an RSS feed, there's probably no way I can try it.
Substack absolutely gives you one for your podcast.
But I
If
don't
you
have a
host your podcast on Substack. Oh, you don't have one. You
Yeah, I
did
don't
have
have
one, Keith. I was listening to your podcast. Where was that place? It's
On
not Where is
SoundCloud.
Keith Today. You have on SoundCloud.
I
SoundCloud
don't
gives
think
you an
Sound-
RSS.
wonder if it does. I do have a SoundCloud account. I will try it. I'm so fascinated by all this because what I used to do, and I was very excited about this, and I know Billy and I probably will disagree on this, but what I used to do is I used to send my 2-hour show to Google Notebook, and it would create this really lovely interview with a guy sounding like Billy, going, "Hey, guess what? I just heard from this really cool dude, Keith Keller. He's such a winner. You got to hear this show. He was so good. Oh man, this guy in Melbourne, Australia, is such a dude." And this is what we talked about. And this other girl would come and goes, "Yeah, I've heard of him. He is a bit of a player. Yeah, I've heard of him." And there was just 2 fake voices, right? And I thought that was so cool. I did hundreds of them, and no one listened to them. Americo, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? I did all these unbelievable sounding podcasts with these fake people, and I thought they sounded bloody good, and they made me sound fantastic, but no one listened to them. So I probably would have those as RSS feeds. Zakia, that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep. We've got a big show today. I'm guessing that's Cyrus there, Vasagna, best veggie lasagna. I'm guessing that must be you, Cyrus. What are you doing, and what are you doing with AI that we can pick up on today? We got you there, Cyrus. I've left you in the cold so long, you've probably gone home. While I'm waiting, Americo, remember that discussion we had about AI generated podcasts and how they sounded great, but no one wanted them? Can you remember that sort of time period? It's almost like a recent history project, isn't it?
Yeah, we're looking a year ago at least, when that was trending, and we were using it. I tried it a couple of times, and just I couldn't bring myself to redistributing the content with those synthetic voices, and not to mention people weren't listening to it other than ourselves. Now I'm sure if we went looking, there's better products where we can clone our voices and make it sound more natural. A year is enough time. in today's age to advance technology so far ahead. Maybe something to look into. But
Well, look,
I
what I'm really interested in here, I'm really interested in this. What I did, I'm not embarrassed about this.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Oh, there he is. Bingo. We got the whole world, Canada, America, Australia, America. Keith in Australia. How you doing, Cyrus? Tell us what you're doing.
Can you hear me?
tuning- We can hear you, yeah. Can you hear us? You might not be able to hear us. All right, we'll keep going with that. What I did, and I'm really interested in your thoughts here, Billy. I know you. Okay, let's keep going. What are you doing?
Hello?
We can hear you, Cyrus. Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, but you can't hear us. All right, so I'll turn you off and I'll try and solve that. This is exactly why I do a sound check. This reason I'm banging the table now. You know, just come beforehand and get your sound right. Like a kid throwing a tantrum. But what I wanted to say, and I'm very excited about this, Akia, because you've picked up on a key strategy that I had forgotten. In 2025, say, I did a 20-part series using Google Notebook about what is social audio. And it's all of these really what I think is really cool articles, 18 shows there was, of this guy talking to a girl, like on the breakfast show, but they weren't real. Now, they weren't very popular. But what I did, and this is very important, what I did was people were saying, look, I can't come to the show. Do you have some highlights? So I said, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll do a little 10-minute highlights reel from the show, and I'll send you that. Well, that's good, but it's not you talking, is it? Yeah, well, there's only one of me, and the show goes 4 hours. I mean, what do you want me to do? Spend my whole life editing so you can watch a show that you didn't come to live? Well, why would I do that? I'm busy. So anyway, no one came. But to your point, Zakia, when I did a blog post about that, I get 400 views. So maybe podcasting in its artificial format is just a stupid idea. What do you think, Billy? I can't imagine you'd have anything kind to say about this. Have you heard? Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you heard these?
Yeah, Google's had that service for a long time. And let me say to Zakia, I'm very interested in some of the stuff you got going on. I just sent you a request on to connect on LinkedIn. But anyway, yes, to answer your question, I would have to say, from my experience, that the vast majority of the podcast audience likes connection. They like to hear real voices, real people, so on. However, and this is a big however, there are some podcasts that are out there that are generated by that Google platform. And those are mostly ones that, let's say, are updating information of some kind, whether it be financial information, what's going on in the stock market. And it's just an audio way to listen to information that normally you might have read before. That's an application where the auto format does work. But here again, if you want to hear about personal stories, personal journeys, getting through trauma, something like that, that's always going to be better with a real person. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but there is an application that I would, just like audiobooks, somebody's reading what someone else wrote. A lot of these things with anything that's going on a particular day with the stock market, whatever. A lot of these podcasts are updated every day or, in relatively short periods of time. And just to listen to information, what used to be called, the rage for a while was on Amazon. There was something called flash briefings. And
Okay.
yeah, and they were essentially just updates like this. And now they can be done with AI.
I'm just really fascinated by this because, as I said, I love doing these live shows, and I might just do them for fun. But a lot of people say, mate, I can't come tomorrow. My kids are at school, or it's late, or they've got to get the car fixed, or life gets in the way. What did you talk about? All right, well, I can tell you that. And so I started initially with these Google Notebook ones, which are very accurate. Like, I mean, it really didn't they? I mean, America, they were so accurate. We condensed a 4-hour video call into an 18-minute podcast, and all of the key points got picked up. It was amazing, wasn't it? Like, in terms of accuracy, it was a very, very, very good highlights reel, wasn't it?
Absolutely. As a highlight reel, bringing that 4-hour conversation bring that narrative down to 18 minutes. Yeah, there is value in that. But to Billy's point, if you're just sharing information, good use of the technology. But if you're sharing a personal experience that took place live, it's not for me.
Yeah. I want to pick up on a new thing, Billy. You may have heard of this, and while I've got you, I really want to hear your thoughts on this, because you do video podcasting. America has a very cool group on Skool, and in that group, and you might be interested in this too, Zakia, in that group, there's a person that now has found a market, a secondary market, for people that make their own video podcasts that look all right, that sound good, that could be on the TV. And she's found this market for them, maybe about 50 stations around the world that are looking for content. And America, I might let you lead with this, but I'd be very interested to know whether Zakia and Billy would be interested in this, because you're already doing the content and it does fit within the repurposing. Imagine if you could take your existing content and put it on 50 other stations around the world that are looking for content. I mean, it's a marriage made in heaven. Do you want to just pick up on that theme, America, and let's run with it for a while?
Well, I'll try to run with it. It's not my area of expertise, but Karin is a community member over on Your Stage Live, the community that I host, and she too hosts a community, Blooming Voices. It's a streaming TV community, and I just started to hear about this. She reached out and felt that there was a great opportunity for us to collaborate. I wouldn't recommend streaming TV for most of my community members who find themselves at the novice stage of live streaming. But for those who are advanced and have a good following, have good viewership, good downloads, this is a viable solution to get your message out. And I think I don't want to speak out of context here, but I think you can buy, I don't know if it's ad space or channel time or airspace, and broadcast onto a Roku channel. And you can essentially have a channel of your own, provided that you have enough budget to do this. And there's a market for it.
Yeah. Is that something that you could imagine doing, Billy? I'd love to hear how you do it and what your thoughts are here. How do you do your content, and where does it go, and is there room to move it along?
Well, the idea of repurposing it, is always something that I'm kicking around. Kind of a unique situation. That the vast majority of my listeners, the podcast is over 10 years old now. And we actually started, before a lot of the video and the tie-ins with social media got started. So we have an audience that goes way back. And I'm very careful that no matter what I do, we never take that audience for granted, and we don't forget about them. So we always make sure that our podcasts sound as good as possible, and the content can stand alone in terms of being in the audio forums. It's very much related to a radio style program. So anything relying on pie charts or videos or anything like that, we generally don't do that. Now, with that being said, I have flirted with YouTube. I've had issues with YouTube and strikes and things like that over what I consider to be very benign conversations. So I'm not real enthusiastic about promoting YouTube channels or anything like that. And the Roku and some of those other ones, I have checked into that, and it's not as expensive as it sounds. But I'm still kind of skeptical that I want to go headstrong into shooting for video because of the fact that, like I said, I have an established what you might call internet radio audience. And the second thing is that there's all these people throwing video out there now. And I know that this has kind of become like a new craze. But the fact of the matter is that all the research and the data that I've been able to get my hands on indicates this. Even if you're quote unquote watching a podcast on YouTube, you're actually just listening to it. Most people open the tab and then shove it off to the side while they're doing something else. So I think that video has a value for me when I have a guest come on and they're an author or something like that. They do like to appear in a professional forum. They will often put it on their website or whatever. So in that case, I think it's very valuable. I also think that the video clips do work. I know you don't like X anymore or Twitter as much as you used to, but those types of clips, especially on topical issues, is something that's breaking news. Those work very well for me. So the video does work as a tool. And if the day would come that I would think, well, I can do this on Roku or something like that, I have investigated it. It's not as expensive as it seems, but it is expensive in the terms of, okay, now everything you do has got to be formatted for video. Everything, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more effort. And if it's going to come at the expense of the audience that has supported me now for 10 or 11 years, I don't want, that's not something I'm going to tread to.
I love what you're saying here. Because I said to Karen's the name, that everyone seems to be doing a video show. Like you turn any channel on and there's always someone talking into their phone, right? And I don't want to do that. I want to do these audio shows. And I don't think what Karen's got to offer would suit this format. And because exactly what you just said, Billy, I don't want to sacrifice what I know I can do well to play a sort of a trendy game, put my face on the camera. I don't personally want to do that. But I am very interested in what that means. Do you see some value in this, Zakira? Have you thought of doing video type shows and being on other channels with that? Have you done some video shows?
I haven't done other video. I do a lot of solo video shows, but I haven't been on other shows. Once my 2 apps are out of beta, I will probably be on a video show tour. I have the other app that's currently, we have 2 more weeks of beta for that, and it'll be released for the public. We currently have 72 people that are actually paying subscribers for that one.
Okay, this is for a Convolin?
No, that's for my Maker Studio AI platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once I'm finished that one, then I will go on other shows beyond my own audience.
Yeah.
But I have to have, I don't think I've done it before because I didn't necessarily have something to sell. I didn't want to just be on shows to hear myself talk.
Well, I got to be honest, I can't see why people would watch 2 people talking on a couch on their TV. But who am I?
They do it all the time.
I know they do.
I don't know why they do, but they do.
I know, I understand. Like this, I want to talk about this. This is really, really, really important, and it sets the whole conversation up. In 1992, Wayne's World came out. Maybe one of my favorite movies of all time, because at that time I was in a band and I was Wayne. I looked like Wayne. I had long hair and I was a bit of a geek. I was the keyboard player in a band, and I wanted to be Wayne. I wanted to have my own sort of show in the basement and interview Alice Cooper and all these funky people, and very famous people in that movie. 1992, do a show in your basement. Who would have thought? And now everyone's doing it. Everyone is doing it. And then in 2009, December 24th, 2009, a guy called Joe Rogan decides, you know what, I'm going to do a show in my basement on Christmas Eve. 250 people watched it. Not very many. But now he's got a $200 million deal with Spotify, and every single person seems to have a video show on their couch in their house. I'm thinking, For me, this is really boring. I've never watched any of them. It's not my thing at all. But I'm not the world. I don't understand this. People watch reality TV all the time. I don't understand it. There's a market for it. So we will interview Karen about this. And apparently there's about 50 stations, about 50 channels that are actively looking for content of people sitting on their couch talking about things. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And that all talks about repurposing, not creating content for that market, but repurposing a show that's already there. And I want to give you a really good example. I'm very proud of this. In 2008, to set the tone of what is going to happen in the next 20 years, in 2008, Blog Talk Radio had this format where you can ring in on your phone and create the shows. Oh, geez, they sounded terrible. But how do you know? You can't know. I didn't know. So we had this radio show in 2008 that went to 126 countries, and people all over the world, including Cyrus, or people like Cyrus, would call in from the UK and all over Toronto. And several people, and I get the concept, several people came to us and said, oh, can we syndicate your show on our channel in the US? Yep. So we were on Jobs Radio FM, and we were on this channel and this channel. And we were syndicated on about 10 channels. We're doing the show anyway, right? Why don't we just add the show to another channel? This is a sort of what she's doing, isn't it, Americo? They're doing the show anyway. Why don't you just put it on another program? Yeah? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Is that something that would relate to the audience that you now have in the school group?
Today, I would say no. But, depending on what people's aspirations are, I'm having difficulty mentoring and coaching people to bring themselves to talking live, whether it's on camera or off camera. They're all there. They're all reading. They're all listening. And they all want to go live.
They won't push go.
But they won't push go.
Yeah, I get it. Oh,
I had one this week, and he was messaging me over the weekend. I'm so excited. I can't wait for us to get started. And at the 11th hour on Monday, he says, oh, geez, it's 1 p.m. already. No, I got things to do. Let's revisit this in a couple of months. It's like, all right.
Yeah. We got a very good crowd today. We can have up to 8 people on the call, and please join in if you want. Cyrus, you got a signal now. We could hear you, but you apparently couldn't hear us. Can you hear us now? Can we hear you now? You're on mute there. I don't think Restream has a facility to unmute people. Can you hear us? If you can, you're on mute. And you've muted yourself. So I'm happy to throw to you about what you're doing.
You can unmute him in your studio.
I can?
Yeah. If you hover over to the right side where all your participants, if you go to the 3-dot menu.
Yeah.
And if you right click it, it should give you the option to unmute him or mute him or remove him.
Can you guys hear me?
Remove him. There we are. Can you? Yes, we can.
Hi.
We can hear you.
How's it going, everybody? Okay. Finally, yes.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
I'm not sure what time it is there now. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
What's your take on repurposing, and jump in where you are based on what we've been talking about? What were the key points you hit?
So first of all, thank you for sharing the amazing people on the stage. Thanks for sharing the things you shared.
So it might not be only Canada, America. Maybe the whole internet is down. Maybe someone's cut the cord today.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Geographically, is he the furthest away from you?
yeah, Manchester. I think that's about as far as you can get. Yeah.
Maybe the cord isn't long enough.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
actually, it is a cord. I'm not kidding.
No, it is a
They're-
cord. It goes
Yeah, they're-
underneath.
Yeah, the bottom of the ocean. Yeah.
It is. It's very thick. It's about it's about the size of a dinner plate. But yeah, it's someone might have cut the cord today. But that being said, I love persisting because, as I said, Melbourne has 6 million people. I could go into the city. I doubt where I could have this conversation in Australia, because what we talk about is so cutting edge sometimes that sometimes I didn't even know what's going on. I don't mind being challenged by that. I sometimes it freaks me out, but I like pushing the envelope. I like trying things that have never been done, and I like learning from other people who are doing it. Billy, because you've got such a great sort of history in podcasting, could you give us some clues as to how you structure your show so that you do get maximum reach with each show? How do you do it so you can hit a couple of bases at once?
Well, I think the consistency, and that just doesn't mean once a week or whatever. That's certainly part of it. But I always try to hit a certain baseline that no matter who the guest is, and sometimes I do solo shows, whether I do them myself, they are generally about the same length, because people use them to time events in their life, whether it be commuting or having their lunch or whatever the case may be on the treadmill. So I don't like having a show that's 25 minutes one week and the next minute it's the next week it's 2 hours.
Oh, I love that thought. So decide ahead of time what it is. It's 35 minutes because that's the average workout time, or that's the average commute time, or that's the average time people go for a walk with their dog, and you want to fit into their rhythm.
Yeah.
That's clever.
And we generally, have a certain baseline of quality. And what I mean by that is we do everything we can to make the show sound as live and as local as possible. So I use StreamYard a lot. I always, coach guests as much as possible to make whatever audio they have sound as good as possible. There's a few tricks that I do in post to kind of clear it up. And AI is assisting with that. There's some audio cleanup tools now that are AI driven that actually work fairly well. It's always still the best idea to record it as good as possible, rather than artificially tamper with it. But if somebody's got a background noise or something like that, that's fairly easy to get out now.
What do you use? Tell us a bit of the goss. What are you using?
Well, it kind of depends. Software does a lot of these. If you use Audacity, they have some background tools now, and that's a free program. But there's a lot of. It really depends on what software you're using, which one will work best. I happen to use Logic Pro a lot for my audio editing. There's a lot of stuff built into that will do that. If you're using DaVinci Resolve, which is essentially video, but they have an absolutely incredibly good audio section. And there's all kinds of things that you can do with AI in that program if you have the paid version, that you can do within that. And so if I have a lot of times what I will do, and I think I've told you this before, if I have a clean signal from a guest, I'll record the audio on a Rodecaster. And when I'm using StreamYard records the video and the audio. But what I will do with that is I'll clean it up in something like DaVinci Resolve, run it through their AI program. And that really takes a lot of the background noise out, gives it a little bit more clarity, things like that. That's not something I have to labor over like I would have to in years past. And actually, some of the clipping software that we talked about earlier will do that too. Opus Clip, for example, has an AI tool that will clean up the audio on your clips.
Oh, so this is very, very important because I've had fierce arguments with people saying, mate, I can't tell. I don't care. I'm just talking into my laptop. And I really want to hear this from you, Billy. As a person that hosts podcasts, if you had a writer that said, "Look, I've written a book. That's enough. I'm just going to talk into my laptop in the kitchen." Have you ever knocked someone back from doing an interview if they just won't play ball, or do you have the tools to fix what they do?
I'm getting to the point, if I think it's a worthwhile interview, that I will try to fix it. However, that is not my preference. There are times when I will stop a production if it's just horrible. Then there have been times, you're talking into a laptop. If you do it correctly, if you position yourself in front of the laptop correctly, and you're in a room that doesn't have a lot of hard surfaces, sometimes it's going to come out adequate, and maybe I can, work some magic on it. Can't always guarantee it. But then there's other times when people just have absolutely horrible setups, and it's not only wasting my time, it's wasting theirs, because the drop off rate on something like that is going to be very, very quickly. We have an audience now that's increasingly more savvy. 5 years ago, people would accept bad audio on a podcast because my way to connect and all that. And that's not true anymore. People are listening not only on increasingly better mobile devices, some of the later phones that sound extremely good. And they're listening to them while they're streaming their phone through their car audio system, or they're in their house and they're using Sonos or one of the Amazon speakers, something like that. And when it sounds like a Teams meeting coming through that speaker, they're simply not going to listen.
I'm so with you, man. I have fierce arguments with people about this. Oh, I can't be bothered. Take me as I am. Well, okay, but if there's 100 people that have written a book today and 99 of them sound good, and you don't, guess who gets dropped?
Yeah, you really have to be able to comfortably listen to something without straining to hear it. And this is a kind of a pet peeve with mine, because I get approached by marketing people. I get approached by publishers who have these authors, and they want to get them on as many shows as possible. And they found me on some list of top this or top that. And, they book all these interviews up on one day. A lot of times, somebody will come into your podcast and, this is like the third or fourth interview that they've done that day. And they have terrible audio. And what I don't understand is there was a time when good sounding microphones were extremely expensive and the cheap ones sounded like dirt. And that's not true anymore. Naturally, the pro ones still sound better. But we're getting to the point now where even the inexpensive ones, if you pick a good one, are going to make you sound pretty good. And if it's part of your marketing plan, somebody has told you, you got to go on the podcast circuit to market your book, you would think that a $50 investment wouldn't be asking too much. So yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine when people come on, and I know that they're part of their marketing plan is to be on a podcast and they don't have good audio. That's very frustrating to me. I can understand a one-off. If it's somebody I've invited to be on for whatever reason and they don't do podcasts, all right, fine. I can handle the fact that I'm going to have to make do with whatever they've got. But here again, when it's part of this is what I'm going to do now to market my book is I'm going to go on all the, a bunch of podcasts, and it's too much of a hassle. Let me tell you something, Keith. I have had, and I am not kidding, people who have won awards in the recording industry, Grammy winners, all this other kind of stuff, right? And I'm all excited when I am managing this. Sometimes I'm doing it for another podcast host, but they have me do it technically. They have me produce it for them. And I'm all excited because I know this guy's got this, great studio and all this stuff. I'm going to have to. And they come on and they're talking into the laptop. And I'm like, don't you have a microphone? No. I don't understand that. I just simply do not understand it. But anyhow, that's my pet peeve. Maybe it's mine and mine alone. I don't know.
No, the reason I'm asking you, Billy, is because you have a podcast and you have guests. So you are uniquely qualified to have an opinion about this. And what you said was very, very relevant. I've done this before too. People would call you and go, "Hey, Keith, I've heard you got a podcast. I've got a guest for you." "Oh, man, I've got a guest for you. Can we fit her in next Wednesday, 10 a.m.? She's got a whole day of interviews. Let's fit you in. Right? Well, no, I'm busy that day, and I just don't want to be slotted in with 10 other interviews. And by the time they get to you, they go, man, this is my 10th interview. Can we just get it over with? I'm just so bored.
Yeah.
You know, I've done this like 10 times already. I'm on the circuit. So you are uniquely qualified to have an opinion on this topic, because you would hear, because you've got ears like me that hear the things. And even when you interviewed me, I had a bit of trouble that day, and we picked it up and we fiddled around, and we had to do a bit of work. So I wanna hear from the people doing shows to understand the people that are writers that want to do this and that want to have a show. They have to have a certain baseline of quality. Now, this is exactly what I want. 7 people online, a little bit of a cool graphic, and an ad for a lasagna brand. I'm going to go ladies first. Lachelle, hello. And why don't we put you together? Bez and Lachelle did a Keithy, the Atlanta Keithy. Let's just start with that story. Pick us up where you are and tell us about your restreaming and your repurposing. But first of all, let's talk about this Keithy that you did.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I feel like it's been an eternity since I've seen you guys or talked to you. So I'm glad to be here. So yeah, what happened was Bez and I have been connected for some time through Clubhouse. And I started following your show and noticed that he was on one day. And so I hopped on the show, and this was before we got into the Substack thing. And found out that, he's in Atlanta as well. He's about 2 hours north of me. But we made it happen. He is a part of an organization, A Million Cups, and he pulled some strings. I'm joking. For me to come and be a speaker. And so I was a speaker there last week. So we got to meet for the first time in person. And he got to meet some of my kids who were with me.
And do you think you would have ever met if it wasn't for an internet radio show on the other side of the world? Do you think that the stars could have aligned? Because he's a long way away, even though he is technically in your region. It's quite possible you might have met, but it's quite possible that you may never have met.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I have grown to appreciate with this community is the power of intention. A lot of the things that we discuss, let's just say repurposing content, we work to implement it in some way in real time. That's even the case for my showing up on Substack. We were doing a show, and someone was on and was asking us some advice about the platform. And while we were on the show, I was able to upload 235 of my podcasts onto Substack within 5 minutes while we were live on the show. So I think the power of intention is so important. And when you're in a community that's purpose driven with that, that's where you're able to grow, scale, and really implement a lot of things for success.
I love what you've said there. There's a good segue here. Zakia, Lachelle has loaded several podcasts on her Substack account. I'm wondering, does that create an RSS feed for you to send to Spotify and Apple? Does it create a secondary repurposing angle? Lachelle, do you think you can actually
Okay, I didn't know if you were asking me or Zakia. And I
Can I jump
actually
in?
I was in one of Zakia's courses because of Bez. Bez referred me to her course, and I was in her AI course. So somebody said, jump in, take the mic. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Mike has said that Substack does have
That
a
was me.
podcast feature, and you can indeed set up an RSS feed. Bez, we have covered so much ground in the last hour. I'm going to catch you up. First of all, I'd love to hear your take on the Keithy And let's see if we can get a copy of that, and I'll put it on the screen. But you did it. You got there, and you met in person.
Okay.
We got you there, Bez.
Yeah, yeah, and really quick, yes, Substack will. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Can you
can.
hear me?
Yep, yep.
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Um, I can hear you too. Nice to be back. It's been a while. Yeah, Substack really does provide us feed, and you can put your podcast on Substack. And if you had no host, Substack will host it for you and doesn't charge you.
Ah,
That's
Zakia, we
crazy.
found it. We found we found the answer. Have you been
That's
trying
excellent.
Zakia's? Have you been trying Zakia's product, Bez? Did you try it? Have you heard of it?
Yeah, she's. I'm on her. I think tomorrow she's launching the beta group. I think she was. You had pushed it off to this week. Am I correct, Zaki?
It's next week, Bez. It should be next week. I hope I didn't
Oh,
get that
next week.
wrong.
Okay, so got it. You might want
I
to
mean, these shows,
check.
Bez.
And or it could be me. I'm.
No, it's probably me. Let me go and check right now.
The reason why this community is so important to me, is that we each know something, and we each have a problem. And your problem is that you've got lots of content you want to do and no time. And Zakia has a program that takes your RSS feed and makes it easier. So to me, that sounds like a marriage made in heaven for you. And I'd be very interested to know if you've tried it or are intending to try it.
Bez got
The
a chance
demos,
to
the
see
kids.
it. He hasn't. Oh, go ahead. I'll let him say. Go ahead. Sorry, Bez. Go ahead.
I got a chance. She gave me a private demo a few weeks back, and I fell in love with it. And I said, "Look, any way you want me involved, it solved all my problems, Keith. That's the bottom line." Okay, so I was very excited about it, and you know, sort of like what we did with the uh, AI Small Business Summit. We we did live, and that was pretty cool. But I want to get back to Lachelle, America's Super. She was super, and Keith, we have to thank you for the connection. Because I believe because of this show and the connection, I know we were connected, but you were the last mile, right? You helped us further, and from there, I said, I got to invite um, Lachelle up to speak at 1 minute. Now, my own would she drive 2 hours now, half hours in the rain, and it just happened to be raining a lot that day. We knew it was like raining for like 3, 4, 5 days straight, and we knew that even on Wednesday that we were going to get rain. I was thinking if I'm going to be early and say, "Hey, Bez, I'm not going to come." I'll tell you this with Michelle, when she gives her word, she comes through, and that means a lot, because it's really easy to um, give a great excuse. Hey, Bez, the weather's, and she was right, and she woke up early, and she probably had to wake kids, and and to get here on time, and I think the crowd loved her. That we had a great. I mean, Lesha, what did you think of the community? I rave about it, but I'm sort of biased. But what did you think? How did you feel? You had never been to that part of Georgia. It's the farthest northeast portion of Georgia, and you came. What did you think of the area?
Well, I thought it was amazing. I
Hello?
had a wonderful time. I wish I had more time to visit and stay, but I would felt very welcomed, and the feedback that I've gotten even after the event has been amazing. Was able to connect with several people on LinkedIn, as Facebook, and I'm looking forward to coming back. It really was a great experience, and I think that's really what extending your brand and building relationships is all about. It's getting out there, shaking hands, being in person, supporting people's vision for what they're doing. This organization, they're completely volunteering their time, and it was just amazing just to be in a room full of people, even though it was a lot of rain. I mean, the room was full, so it was really a good time, and looking forward to coming back.
It's a very good vindication of why these communities are so important, isn't it? Like, you guys met, and I'm doubting whether you would have met in real life. There's probably no reason why Lachelle would have been in that region in the normal course of events. I'm guessing. I'm just putting words in your mouth, probably, but you know, we're creating miracles here, aren't we? We're just so good. Look, it's just so good.
Well, I want to meet every single one here. So just pull on through. I'll give you some space to speak, and we'll make it happen. And Keith, thank you for connecting us and getting that last mile. Lachelle was just nothing but short of amazing, top amazing, and she just shared her authentic story, and that's what our community about is to share your story, and she gives a really great journey, story of her journey, and it's hard not to put yourself in there or know someone in your family or be able to resonate when she shares her story. And but Keith, you have a great deal with this, and I definitely do give you credit because I know a lot of people in Atlanta, and I still haven't connected with them. His name Hurricane Dave. I haven't made the final connection.
And Jim,
But and then there's another one. Huh?
Jim,
Who?
have you connected to Jim?
Hurricane Dave.
But have you connected to Jim
Jim.
Fuse? Jim Fuse, the video dude.
What's his last name? Huh?
Well,
Jim. Oh yes. Oh no, not in person. Not in person. Yeah. Still haven't yet, but we plan on Jim Fuse. And who was the voice actress, the voiceover person?
oh yeah. There's the other person. That's
Portia?
right.
Portia?
She works for Porsche. Yep, that's right.
Portia?
Actually,
Okay.
I want to share a stat. You'll
But
be fascinated by this. The Americans love Substack. They love it. And Georgians are my top 5 ranking subscribers. I've got they're number 5 with a bullet. And now the top 5. So Georgia is number 5 on the list of people subscribing to my channel. And I've got lots and lots and lots and lots of connections on Atlanta. It's a bit of a thumping place. So I'm so excited you guys have met in person. But what I'd really like to know from you, Bez, I want to set this up pretty well. You love going out in the real world. And I'm saying it that way because I don't. Right? I'm not embarrassed about that anymore. I just don't like it. So I'm not a real world dude. I'm not what I call an in-person person. Right? But you love it. But what I'd love to know from you, as a person that loves going out into the world, you mustn't have a lot of time to make content. So what are your pain points when it comes to creating something, knowing that you're not home very often? What would you like to do more of? And what tools can we help you find to do that?
Well, I would love to meet all of you wherever you're at. So if you can find me a tool to teleport very cheaply and quickly,
Oh yeah. Okay.
I can't get enough. I can't get enough of people. You guys give me energy. I'm an energy vampire, and I want to meet Billy. I want to meet you, Keith, in person. I want to meet Zakia in person. All of you are amazing people, and I think America with him in person. Anybody. I mean, but to be
Oh, what happened there, Bez? We lose you?
honest,
we might have
for
lost
me,
Bez.
creating content is easy. I'm I'm working with somebody, one of my organizers, to help us. They volunteer to do it because they do that. But yeah, I mean, that's why Zacchaeus tool very much resonates with me. Uh, and it's the Tylenol to my pain. So
Can you tell me
yeah.
how you use
Anyways,
it?
a lot of gratitude.
Tell me what it does for you. What does it
Which
do
one?
for you?
Well,
The site. What does Zacchaeus site do for you?
okay, so it's if you ever think of when you do a show, and Keith, you can resonate with this, and you're interviewing somebody, it goes from A to Z. If I'm correct, from what I remember from the demo, even when you're trying to schedule someone, do the research so you can talk to them, share information with them, give them all the everything they need. I believe even able to develop media assets. Then you go to the show. I believe it. Oh man, this is the production part. I'm getting a little foggy with, but I know on the post production, it helps with the editing. Kia, can you fill in the blanks for me, because I'm just in love with it, and in fact, yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it.
You covered it great. It's just that during the conversation, you have that live AI coach that knows all your transitions. It can help you build a script if you're doing a solo show, or questions for your guest, based on the research it did. And then once the show is recorded, it does create those assets, the thank you letter to the guest, all of those pieces, all in one place.
Shoot, I actually think it for doing business. If it does all that, I mean, and does it bake a cake? You know,
It should.
Yeah, maybe you could introduce it to Rotary, and I'm sure there'd be people in Rotary that have podcasts, Pez. I mean, there'd be a whole lot of people in Rotary. That'd be a market unto itself. Imagine if you could get it inside a Rotary.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Got it. Well, that's why I
it's got a
do
lot of
betas.
potential.
So I have a beta program that typically runs 6 weeks with all of my apps. And during that time, people that are in the beta, if they decide to stay on, they get the lowest price for the highest tier that we offer, locked in forever. But then that's also when I figure out where it's not as intuitive as it should be, but then also get very clear on what the tool does and does not do. Like I can tell you without a doubt, it is not a video tool. And I can tell you that everybody that comes in beta is going to ask for video. That is a very hard line in the sand that I'm going to keep for very specific reasons. So there is a methodology to it. And then after beta is done, it opens up to the public after that period.
Let's play with this. I love you. I love your thinking. Red ocean, blue ocean. Everyone's doing video. There's a million tools for video. Go at it. Your tool doesn't do video. Don't ask me. I love this. I love this strategy. I love your determination. Is that what you're thinking? Just too hard to compete with 17,000 other video tools. Why bother? Yeah, is that your thinking?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Another part of it is there's already I don't know how to describe it, an angst that people have just recording and having that live coach. Again, this is for when you are actually recording. If you're also trying to read and listen to that live coach, it can take you off kilter, which does not lend itself well to video. You have to be very, very and think about I remember when you were first starting with Restream and you were like, there's just so many buttons to push. I don't want that angst for users of the app. I want them to get the full value and benefit of it for why it was built.
We have
And there's
another
something too
Canadian.
is that yeah.
No, you go, mate. That's all right. You jump with that.
Sorry about that, Keith. I think I just real quick. There's a lot of Billy probably will appreciate that. There's a lot of people who want to do audio, and because you know you got Apple, Spotify trying to do their own video standards, strip out, you upload it, and they want to, especially on Spotify, they want you to put the video that automatically now it's not an RSS feed, right? And so I don't know. There's you see those people that want to be audio first, and they want to really stay in that RSS feed because they own their content, right? You can kick them off, but they can always point the RSS feed, and their audience is still gonna be able to find it. But but you see a lot of people, especially as we go along in the different generational mixes that are really into video first. So there's a little bit for everybody, but I think Zakia's focus is it's not a tool for everybody. It's a tool for audio, and I love it. It's just I think you're going to do well with it because it's very focused and you're clear on who you're serving and who you're not. And there's going to be a lot of people that. So I don't know. Billy may have some. I mean, he's the audio guy here. I mean, he's a pro many years, and I've seen him work at Spreaker and some other places. And you've spoken on stages or podcasts from here and around the world, and maybe even tomorrow. But you probably have a very unique perspective on this. Back to you, Billy or Keith.
Oh, yeah, sure. I didn't know if Keith wanted to come to me.
You go.
We talked a little bit about this before, so I won't go over it too much. But to me, the spoken word is somewhat of an art form. And being able to communicate, through words, the way you speak, the way you enunciate, the way you put your inflection in, like in the days of Paul Harvey, or you'd have to go way back now. You'd really have to be an old school guy to know who like Burl Ives and some of those folks. Those were the old school audio guys, and they told stories magnificently, and I think a lot of that gets lost when you take what amounts to a Zoom call or a Teams meeting and just strip the audio off and slap it onto a podcast. I just don't think that's what a podcast is.
It is a pain point, isn't it? Like nothing pisses me off more than hearing a podcast going, look, if you just look in the top right corner, I've got this really lovely graphic of a seagull. This is a podcast. I can't see a seagull. What are you talking about? Oh, I just stripped the audio out. Suck it up. It looks good when you watch on YouTube, but we're not on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this on Spotify. Don't talk about seagulls in the wind. Use audio language. Right. I totally disagree with stripping it out and putting it everywhere. I totally disagree with that model. And I know you and I agree on that because it just weakens it. It's sort of everything for everyone, but it's nothing for no one. And this picks up on a very good mate of mine, Indra here in Melbourne, said, can the speakers give us some advice on how to balance content creation repurposing with adding high value for the audience in each different channel? This is a very good question. So that the repurposed content is published on. It's exactly what we're talking about. Don't just strip out the audio of a YouTube video and throw it on Spotify. That's not helpful. Do it very specifically. Do you want to pick up on this, Billy? This is a very good question. We can't do all things for all people. We've got to focus, haven't we?
Yes, that is absolutely true. Someone did ask what microphone I was using. I'm actually using the Rode Pod mic, and I have it plugged into a Rode Duo, which is a little mixer, and also it's an audio interface.
Oh, can I have one? Can I have one, please? Can I have one of them? Oh, that's my ideal setup.
Yeah.
Rode pod mic, Rode Duo, right? Unbelievable. So I got a chance to throw those images in again. But Indra, pick up on this if this is answering your question. I think we do need to focus. There is this tendency to go, look, I'm just going to put it everywhere. YouTube, Rumble, Tubi, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Substack, and all these new ones. And then it's just a mess. It's just nothing for no one. It's just a mess of what we now call AI slop. Everything's trying to be everything for everyone. Feel free to ask some subsequent questions to pick up on this. But what's your advice to someone who wants to repurpose something they've got to widen the reach but keep the intensity? It's a great question. What do you think, Billy?
Oh, yeah, okay. I was wanting to make sure you were asking me. Here again, I can tell you what works for me. And I give audio a priority with the initial concept of the podcast. So if I'm going to talk to someone about the plane crash they were in, just being facetious here, I'm going to make sure that that audio program tells that story as best as possible, conveys the emotion, conveys the sequence of events. Now, if that means, and I record audio and video at the same time, I record the audio separately with a Rodecaster or a similar device, and then I record the video usually with StreamYard. When I go to repurpose it, I make sure that the audio version has that radio grit. I really like that. I like the audio to sound very full. I like it to sound very heavy and very rich in any type of sound system. When we go to video, I also make the audio sound as good as possible, but I also understand it's going to be played on YouTube or something like that. So I don't get too fancy with the audio there, but I hear again, the integrity of the show is still intact, but we're just showing video now as well. So you get the bonus of the video, but the show is still intact. And I think that's the key. If you're going to have a video centric, like what you might call a video cast, if you're going to do that, then the video cast has to be video centric. And then the other thing secondary, where I go the other way. You can't do everything perfectly. All your little sound clips and everything should pique interest. And that's about it. They shouldn't necessarily take the place of your content overall or become too much of a focus or take too much of your time. If I get too focused on all these secondary things like social media and all that other kind of stuff, and it takes away from the podcast, then it's doing more harm than good. So that's my answer to that.
I think you're right. And there is, are you coming across this? There's such a trend for people saying, mate, guess what? I did one podcast. I put it on Spotify. I put it on Apple. I did it on YouTube. I did it on Tubi. I did it on Rumble. I did it once. Yeah, you did it once. But what are the people on Rumble thinking? What are the people on iTunes thinking? Did you have them in mind when you did it? No, I just did it once and I just put it everywhere. It's rubbish. It's just shit. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Do you want to jump in on this, Melissa? Melissa's in Toronto. She Kingston, Ontario now, but she was in radio in Canada, and she's got a unique perspective on this. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but are we on the right track here, Melissa? Are you finding people are trying to be everything for everyone? Oh, I think I've got you there. If we can get a signal, what are you thinking, Melissa? We got you. We got yourself on mute. I think it's working. What do you got? No. I don't think it's working. All right. Technical challenges. Good fun. Lachelle, I might ask you this question in the context of another concept, which in a way is the direct opposite. Yesterday we did a show, and this person said, I'll take your video and I'll put it on 50 other channels for a fee. And I'll vet them and make sure that there's a standard, but there's 50 channels. maybe there's 50. Yeah, there's 50 channels, 5 networks. What do you think of that? And do you like to focus on quality where you are, or do you think you like the idea of being everywhere for everyone? What do you think? Because it's like it's a two-way flow. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Michelle, we got you there? All right. Billy's got some great advice for how to make your stuff sound better. What are you thinking when you're doing the audio mixing? How do you maximize that sound, given that you've got some pretty good tools anyway?
Yeah, somebody just asked about the the gritty, rich, and full. You have to experiment with it. Everybody has a different instrument, and I get nervous when I hear people talking about, well, I don't have a good voice. Everybody has a voice that it's just like singing. You have to pick songs, pick material that enhance your instrument, that your instrument is good for. Not everybody can sing all songs in all different keys. You have to find a way to do what's good for you. So as you listen to your own voice and you start to get a feel for what you like, equalization is a big part of that. Now you can have plugins that do that. Most recording DAWs, digital audio workstations is what that stands for. Will give you usually some tools to do that pretty well. Okay. The other thing is compression, and what compression will do is kind of level out your audio, and it will give you a certain amount of grit. As a matter of fact, on some DAWs, it's listed as such. You got to be careful not to overuse that. So you want to, it's kind of one of those things, like they say about color grading video, the less the better. But that compression will give you that FM type radio sound. And another thing that will really isolate your voice, first of all, I record a good signal. Now, I was asked about microphones before. The professional ones always sound better, but if you're using an inexpensive one of the things that you can really do is speak closely to get what's called the proximity effect.
The proximity effect.
The proximity effect. And that's more than just talking close, because it's kind of obvious. The closer you are to the microphone, it's going to pick you up better. But it does more than that. It changes the dynamics of how you sound. You do sound fuller. You do sound, you have a little bit more low end. And it sounds more intimate. So utilize the proximity effect. And then the other thing you can do is just noise reduction. There's different types of things that you can do there to really isolate your voice in post, or there's a lot of noise reduction that will work actively. Like the Rodecaster does have active noise reduction, which I have on now. So you don't hear background sound and things like that coming through. So, and somebody says they have a Go XLR. I've never used that, but it's a very similar device. You can really tailor the way your microphone sounds best suited for your voice. And you got to keep in mind too, not only does everybody have a different instrument, but the microphone itself has a different set of dynamics. So you really just kind of have to experiment with it, get comfortable with how you sound and with what equipment you're using. But yeah, you can give yourself some weight by generally utilizing equalization, compression, and noise reduction.
I'll throw to the group on this in a minute, but I found a little hack, and I'd be interested to know if I've got it right here, Billy. When I use Audacity, which I love, it's a free tool and I'm pretty good at it. I use this combination. Would you think that if you did it this way, it would work? Because I've heard you mention EQ, and I've also heard you mention compression. Would you do it in this direction, or would you do something slightly different when you mix down? I don't know if you see that. Normalize.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that I'm not much for reverb, but there's times when I use it. But I don't use much reverb for spoken word. There are times that you can sound too dry depending on what you're doing. For voiceovers, especially if you're doing a voiceover like for a documentary or something like that, sometimes a little reverb, especially if there's a music track underneath you, sometimes it's kind of nice to add a little reverb. But as a general rule, for a speaking voice, for doing a podcast or a radio commercial where it's just my voice out there by itself, I'm not much of a reverb person. Normalization is good in the first stage. Then applying the EQ and adding compression generally is kind of where that should be as well. And here again, you want to tread on that lightly. Don't overdo it, or you'll sound like this. It's too much. So just enough to level off your audio so you don't have too many peaks and valleys, and give you some of that radio grit. Just a little bit of compression generally will do that nicely.
Yeah. Well, I was experimenting with Audacity. I quite like Audacity, but as you are, I'm an old school podcaster where I did everything myself, so I know what the buttons do. But this is a good little hack: compression, EQ, normalizing, and obviously the best idea is to have the best signal you can straight away, but you can fix things later. Indra
Well,
has asked.
you're not going to be able to normalize live. So that's a post-production tool. So
Yeah.
you can add reverb live, you can apply equalization, and you can apply compression live.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, you're right. You normalize the track once it's done. Indra, who's working in the background, has got some other questions. Indra is saying that the audience for each of these different channels is quite different. And I'm wondering how you manage to do a wide spectrum of different audiences from the same content. It must be pretty difficult to reach a wider audience in some context, or is there a sort of a middle ground? I once heard it's called in radio the spaceship model. You never mention the town, you never mention the time. I don't know if you've heard of that, Billy, but if you're living in rural Canada, you never mention the snow, and you never mention that it's 10 to 8 because someone might be listening in Montana where it's not snowing and it's not 10 to 8. So I think they call that the spaceship model of radio, where you keep everything pretty neutral. Would that work in a podcast, or would that strip out some of the integrity?
It depends on the content. Like, we do a mix of things. Like, I just interviewed someone who was an Air Force veteran. She had a lot of insights on, reinventing yourself after you've been in the military for 20 years. And she also wrote a book. She talked about the how writing itself helped her reinvent herself and get onto a different type of life. That's what I would call an evergreen podcast. I can pretty much throw that out anytime. So I have it in the playlist. And when I'm scheduling out my social media posts, a podcast like that I can use periodically because it's evergreen. For the most part, it's always going to have a certain amount of interest. On the other hand, I just recently did a podcast with Sarah Alessandrini, who was she's first of all a very talented documentary filmmaker, and she wanted to talk about the mayor race in Los Angeles. And now she's very insightful, she's very entertaining, and that subject is trending today because the election was today. I don't know the results yet, but a lot of people in the United States were really following that.
I did see that someone was voting in LA today.
Yes, so that was a big story. Now that's going to be hot this week, but next week it's a dead episode. Okay. So we did it over Memorial Day weekend. I got a solid 2 weeks out of it, and it has a certain value. I'm sure people will still listen to it, but it's not going to have its value when I'm a month or two from now, when I'm scheduling out podcasts to go out on social media. That's not going to be one of them because that's going to be perceived as an old episode. So it just kind of depends, but it certainly has the idea that anybody who's really hot on that subject and is looking for content, they listen to the show. That's a potential repeat listener that I'm going to have again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a great concept. It's a great example. Like Melissa in Kingston, Ontario, saying, "Can you just explain what you mean by evergreen content?" I'm surprised you haven't heard that phrase, Melissa, but it's a podcasting term for very generic content that sort of works anytime, any year, and you can still pick it up 10 years later and it makes sense. What type of microphone do you need? Well, that's still going to work in 20 years. The brand might change, but the concepts won't change.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick up on why evergreen content is so good in the podcasting world?
Well, sure. I mean, you can rotate out, and evergreen comes like from the tree that's evergreen. It's green all year round, and maybe that's something that's in North America. I don't know. But in those terms, you can always throw out when I'm scheduling out social media, like on X or something. An evergreen podcast is something like we just talked about. You know, my writing technique. Okay, if I'm talking to Ernest Hemingway about his writing technique, that's an evergreen episode. I can play that anytime I want. Okay, and that's basically what it means. It has a value in terms of, you know, it's something in your playlist that people can listen to anytime. And the other value that it has is a lot of times I will stack up episodes. So I might be 3 or 4 weeks ahead in terms of, well, obviously I'm going to save the evergreen episodes for later. If I'm talking about the election in Los Angeles, that's got to go out now. It's not going to do me no good in August. But if I have an evergreen episode, I can wait until August and use it then. So it's important content to have as a podcaster.
I love it. I love it. I've got a bit of I'm really interested in this, and I'll talk about it from the point of view of blogging. When I've got 106, I'm very proud of this. I've got 106 articles on my Substack account now, and some of them are related. It's not technically evergreen, but they're related. So when I do a new post, what I like to do is I like to buffer it, bolster it with several other posts that are similar that went well. It's not technically an evergreen strategy, but you know, so I'll for instance, the Repurpose 3030, I've probably got 5 blog posts that I've done in the last month or two that relate to this idea in a different type of way. And by having them bolstered together, moving up to the show, a little bit like the mayoral race in LA, they're relevant. This show is today. You know, in August, these are concepts might not be relevant because I'm not doing the show in August. I'm doing it now. But there are other sites, other ideas that work every day. What mic do I need? Do I need a mic? Should I do live streaming or should I do podcasting? Should I do a blog or should I use something else? These sort of generic evergreen concepts, they're bloody brilliant. Did you indeed have a question about this, Bez, or did you want to pick up on how you're using your Go XLR in this context? Oh, we lost you. That was a good throw. Can I ask you, Zakia, about your tech stack? Because you've got a Rodecaster and a pod mic. How do you get that really good sound? Do you just set it and forget it, or do you do post production when you do your episodes? Oh, we lost everyone. Everyone's going to sleep. I'll tell you what we might do. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give everyone a break. We've been going for 2 hours, and I think this is a really good spot to rest and reset. I personally, I might be the only one in the world, but I love AI music. I just love creating it. I know it's not me. I'm not cheating. I'm not pretending that this is me. I just create these songs for $10. And I created a theme song for this show, Repurpose 3030. Right? And you just type in these various parameters. I did one based loosely on modern music, and then I thought, what would it be like if I did a sort of 70s retro version, like a Peppermint Twist or Fox on the Run, or the new phases. So this is my 70s version of this show, of this song. And I just want to give everyone a chance to reset. A couple of people are having some challenges with their tech. So I'll give everyone a chance to reset or go. But we've been going 2 hours. I want to first of all thank everyone who's listening to for that. Billy, I know you're very busy. Thanks so much for being such a great support for us. I really do appreciate this.
Well, it's my pleasure. Bez isn't here, but Bez is just a great person. I just love listening to him. I got a chance to meet Zakia. She and I connected on LinkedIn. I definitely want to check out, her service there. I don't thoroughly understand it just by listening to what we talked about today. So I definitely want to check that out. And Keith, you're a natural born BSer, and I mean that as a compliment.
I can just talk and talk and talk, can I just make it up.
You were born talking and haven't stopped since. So
Yeah, it's a good skill to have.
it is a skill. I've known guys like you being in this business for a long time. You can hand them a phone book and they can get 30 minutes of material out of it. And that's a talent, that's and you always are very friendly and personable, and you run these rooms very graciously. So I enjoyed being here. I'll try to catch you more often as you do these lives. And I really appreciate all of you and your company. Thank you very much.
No worries. Well, let's have a break. It's 2 hours in. I think it's a good chance to have a rest. Some people are having some tech problems. It gives me a chance to figure that out. You're listening to Repurpose 3030. And the basic premise of that is that we are doing 30 pieces of content in 30 days as a community. And we're going to find out how to create all these great ideas by sharing everything that we know as a group. So there's no wrong or right answer. And I've created a theme song specifically for this.
Repurpose 3030. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen. Yeah. Got a post from last year still hitting like gold. Buried in the feed, but the story's still bold. Turn it to a video, spin it to a show. Same idea, new life, watch it overflow. Why start over when you already know there's a spark in the archive ready to glow? Repurpose 3030. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen. Block to a podcast, click to a reel. Different kind of magic, but it's all the same feel. Scrolling different platforms, reaching new eyes. Same core message, just a new disguise. You don't need new when the old still shines. Just reshape the signal, multiply the lines. Repurpose 3030. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen. Hey, hey, hey. 30 days, let it amplify. Take one spark, let it multiply. See your dreams in the midnight glow. Watch your whole world start to grow. Different voices, same heartbeat. Different channels, one repeat. You're not starting from zero again. You're just playing it smarter, my friend. Repurpose 3030. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Hey! Make your content evergreen. Repurpose 3030. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen.
I did it again, right on the beat, mate. How you doing? It's into part 2. We've been
Okay.
going 2 hours, but I thought I'd keep going because this idea of repurposing is so universal and so desperately needed that I just thought we better just milk it for what it's going. And you're a great example of where this tech can help, because you're very different to me. You love to go out and meet people in the real world. So by default, you wouldn't have a lot of time in the office. You can't because you're out in the world, right? I'd be
Right.
very interested to know how you manage that because I know you love being out in the world, and that is a great position. But are there any pain points with your admin or your any tools that you could use that you could sort of mention? Because we'll go and find them for you.
Yeah, I think that's why I like Zacchaeus tool. By the way, I'm on my phone because I need to use my computer and I need to get a flyer out for an event tomorrow, and so I probably sound different. Am I
Oh, that's all
correct?
right. We're 2 hours in. No one will notice. And
Okay.
isn't it great having Billy help us out with that, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is everybody gone except me and you? Right?
Yeah, I rebooted and just gave everyone a bit of gave them the night off because we'd been going 2 hours. So
Right.
I'll pick up. Don't feel that you need to stay because I've got
No,
I worked
I
it
will.
out.
I
Yep.
will while I'm make yeah. No, I'm good right now. But yeah, no, it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. The um Wow, man, I was gonna say something. Yeah, I think for me, that's why Zacchaeus tool resonates because, um, at least during the week, twice, I'm out, and even if it's for an hour or two, because if not, I get cabin fever. But yeah, no, I think it's healthy. It's just for at least for me. So
Yeah,
that's what.
we're all different. We're all different. I am challenging myself, but I tell you what, you might be interested in this. I've decided moving forward from this day forward, video killed the radio star,
Uh-huh.
that I am going to have every second month off.
Okay.
I've worked out my creative rhythm.
Uh-huh.
I had so much creative power from not doing the show that I thought I'm going to do this again. Because and you would know this, the challenge of having to do 2 shows every week forever and the load that you feel that,
Right.
it depletes you, right? So
Yeah.
what I've decided is that in the month of June, I'm doing 2 shows a week, and then at the end of June, I'm having a month off to
Okay.
examine the results. What worked, what didn't, give myself some perspective, right?
Right.
Rather than every week forever, 2 shows a week, right? It just drains me, yeah? And what I'm doing it, yeah?
No, I think that's good. I think if that works for you, Keith, I think do it. I think we want you to be energized and excited, and I think if that's lacking, you want to be able to bring your best. And I mean, look, I've seen you. You're more jazzed up. You were high energy today, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, works
It
for you.
it gives perspective. And what I'm really interested in the same context of Zacchaeus tool is that
Mhm.
I've worked out that I get about 10 times more engagement when I write blog posts than when I do live shows.
Right.
Same content, different format.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do now, and I'm very proud of this, what I do now is I do a blog post about what the show's going to be about
Mm-hmm.
about a week before.
Okay.
And they show that one of my blog posts had 700 views. Huh?
Wow.
So, and I'm averaging about 400, like out of every post. So this show, I'm going to check it in a minute, but yesterday I did a show, had 28 views. Right?
Wow.
If I was basing my worth to the world in how many people viewed my show, well, I'd probably jump off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm joking. I'm joking. I wouldn't jump off a cliff. I've got a beautiful wife and I love life. But I wouldn't be very happy if I poured 4 hours of my life into a show. I'm paying $30 a month for the tech. I've got a mic and a mixer and the heater's on, and I'm paying money, and 28 people saw it. I wouldn't be happy with that, right? So
Right.
with that 4 hours, I can write a blog post and have 700 people view it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to ask the question, what is the best use of my creative energy? The energy is finite. It's
Mhm.
not infinite. Like I don't wake up every day forever with the same amount of chutzpah.
Right.
Sometimes I think, you know what, I just don't want to do anything today. I don't want to. I just can't be bothered. I'm flat. I'm full. I'm
Mhm.
buggered. So what I'm going to do, I'm very proud of this. I've got this month, every Wednesday, Tuesday for you, every Tuesday, I'm going to do a show, Repurpose 3030. And the goal is to help people around the world to create 30 pieces of content in 30 days, very loosely based on Jennifer's pod, pod, podmo, pomo,
Napod Pomo.
that pod pomo idea, 30 pieces of content in 30 days. I'm going to
Right.
give her full credit for that. It was her idea. And
Mhm.
but I've called it Repurpose 3030. 30
Oh,
pieces of content. And the thing that I'm really interested in, this is a very good challenge for you and everyone listening. Do you know what your best performing content is?
I don't know.
Have you ever done that research?
No, I need to go check. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I need to go check.
Because I put a 100% of my attention into every blog post, but not everyone sticks. I've done
Right.
blog posts. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to go off. I'm so excited. This is so good. And like 2 people watch it.
Right.
Thinking, what happened there? What happened? I was really into that. That's the real me.
Mm-hmm.
People like me anymore. Right. And then other times I do these blog posts and I get like 100 views in the first hour. And I want to share these stats because stats are important in this context. So I'm getting 12,000 views a month on my
Okay.
Substack account.
Okay.
12,000. That's 400 views every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's a very cool number. Yeah,
Yeah.
it vindicates my work, my effort.
Right.
And so what I do, I'm very excited about this. And this is probably a good one to share. I have a strategy. I have a system. What I do is I load a blog post, usually early in the morning when I'm full of beans, and I push it really hard for a couple of hours.
Okay.
Push it. I change the title. I put in some funky graphics. I move it around. I use Richard's new tool to get the SEO right, and I play with it for about 2 hours. And usually
Mm-hmm.
in that 2 hours, I get it to 100 views. My highest score is 100 in 1 hour, and my worst score is 100 in 3 hours. But I usually get 100 views in the first 2 hours. And then I have breakfast and, because I get up pretty early and I sort of get myself settled. And then I look at it again and go, oh, what do I do now? And I might change the title. I might change the graphic. I might change the words a bit. They're my words, but I just change them around. And my highest score with this strategy is that I had 525 views in one day.
Wow.
And my highest score overall is 700 views in total from one blog post. Now, yesterday, the show that we did, which went for 2 hours and was very good, had 28 views.
Okay.
Now, in that 2 hours, I could have written a blog post and had 100 views.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 times more with the same effort, right? And this is what I'm talking about on this. I'm going to pick up on this next week too. I'm actually asking the question, well, what's the best use of my creative time? There's only one of me. And I can't be throwing my energy down the toilet. I've got to be focused. So, yeah.
So you bring up a great point, Keith. And I'm going to tell you why it's a great question to ask yourself. I was talking to I do a little career coaching, and I was talking to somebody again. They're wondering why applying doesn't work, and I say, look, the statistics all say that applying for a job is a less than 1% chance of success. And I go, yet we bang our heads and keep doing it. But if I told somebody, a very smart person today who is an executive, and I go, if you go to your executive team, or if one of your people from your executive team came to you and said, hey, I want to try something that has a less than 1% chance of working.
Of course you
That's
do.
exactly. That's how ludicrous it sounds. I go, what would they say? I mean, you're laughing. I mean, yes, we'd get laughed out the room, bottom line. And yet we are going out there applying for a job and bang our heads. And I said, the only reason we applied for a job is because we get a dopamine hit that we did something. What you're trying to avoid is how you really get a job. That's hard work. And that's the grind of getting out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, networking. I mean, getting from behind your computer screen. Now, that's not easy. And that can be a delayed gratification, but you rather hit the button and get a dopamine hit and feel like you did something. Well, look, what do you want? A cookie? I mean, you're a grown adult. And I think you're asking yourself the right question, Keith. You're looking at the numbers and you're saying, you're going to your boss, which is yourself, and saying, hey, I want to do something. And the metric says I get really, really low return on what I do every single time. Yet when I do this other thing that I don't do a lot, or that I do, I 10x. Boss, me, myself, and I, what should I do? Now remember, Keith, you just laughed when I said, if you work for somebody, and let's say you're the boss, and you said, hey, boss, hey, you're talking about your peers, your executives, say, hey, one of my underlings came to me and said, hey, I want to try something that has a success rate of 1%. Just like you did, you laughed. You get laughed out of the room. So I think you're asking the right question, Keith. And you got to decide, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
I
because
know you like these shows, and I like them too. But you have a different reason. You have a reason why you're here, and you're not getting what you want out of a live stream.
yeah,
So there's no wrong or right answer. It's just what's right for you based on your goals, where you're
exactly.
going.
Because sometimes we get a bit of a dopamine hit to say, well, at least I did something. It's a very good question. It's a very good statement. Well, at least I did something. I did a show and 28 people came, and it was better than doing nothing. There was nothing on TV, and I've got to get out of bed. But then
Mhm.
you think, well, is that the best use of that 2 hours? I
Right.
did a show between 10 and 2. Is that the best use of that time? I could have written a blog post in that time and had 280 views. Isn't that a better use of my time? And this is exactly the question I'm asking when people say, what is Repurpose 3030? Okay. Well, first of all, what's already working? Right. And you may not know. And as you said, Bez, you don't. Most people don't check. They just throw
Right.
shit at the wall and they hope that people call them. So
Mhm.
every time I do a blog post or a show or a stream or anything, I check the stats. And
Mhm.
one of the things I'm very proud of, I'm extremely excited about this, is that I've now got 34 states in the US following me.
Wow.
And 34 of the 52, 51, 52, 50, whatever it is, how many there are now. And what I love about Substack is it says, look, Keith, you don't have any followers in Missouri. All right.
Mhm.
So now it gives me something to chase. It gives me
Right.
something to do. What I do, I'm very excited about this. What I do is I use LinkedIn and I follow, I find all of my connections in Missouri and I say, hey, we got a show coming up. Do you want to come? And if you
Mm.
can come, do you want to follow me on Substack? Right now, my goal this year, and you'll see this play out, my goal on this year is to fill in all these grey boxes. It's a bit of a dumb game, but it's a game. At least I'm
Right.
doing something, right?
Right.
But each time I talk to this particular person in Missouri or Mississippi or Honolulu or Alaska, I've got something to say. I'm not just spamming them. Hey, we got a show. Why don't you come? Hey, guess what? I don't have any followers in Maine. Do you want to come to my show and be my first follower in Maine? Right. And then suddenly it's a conversation. It's not just this random piece of content I'm putting out with no purpose.
Right.
And then when I get that follower in Maine, I got a follower in Mississippi now, so that particular grid's going to go orange. I then can say, hello, guess what? You're my first subscriber in Mississippi. Thank you. Want to come on the show? Really appreciate this. You've got this personalized angle to your effort. You're not just spraying and praying. And I'd imagine this would work with a job search too. You got to have an angle. You got to personalize it. You got to humanize it, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%.
And what happened yesterday? I haven't updated this stat. The United Kingdom jumped into second place with 26 subscribers. Now, they can't come to my show, but it gives me something to talk about. Hey, guess what? You're in the UK, and I've got 26 followers there. Hello. Want to come on my show? So I'm always looking for a way to personalize it, to, make sure that it relates to them. Not just, hello, I've got a video and I've sent this blog post out 613 times today, and you're the 614th. Hope you don't mind. Because I don't know if you were on the call when Billy was talking, and this must happen to a lot of podcasters, he gets people coming on saying, oh, mate, I've been on 10 interviews today, and you're the 10th, and I'm really stuffed. Can we just get this over and done with, please? I've done 10 of these today. I really don't. I'm not in the mood.
Oh, my goodness. How insulting.
So because book publishers or book promoters say, look, we've got this writer and we want to promote their book. Yeah, okay, no worries. Well, that's what I do. I've got a podcast. I'm happy to talk. They've never been on a podcast before. Is it all right if they just talk into their laptop? No. Can you get them a nice mic? Nah. Can you get them a decent phone? Nah. They live in the country, mate. I mean, they live near the airport. You just suck it up. No, actually, no. I'm not sucking it up. This is my show. I'm doing you a favor. You're not doing me a favor. I don't have any trouble getting guests. I'm doing you a favor. And then the person calls in and they go, oh, look, I've done 10 of these today and I'm so sick of it. Can we just get it over and done with so I can have to sleep, watch a bit of TV, buy a pizza, right? And they don't come into it with a intention. They don't come into it with a passion. Yeah?
Right. You're right.
So I'm extremely proud, but could you take a guess at what you think your best performing content might be? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I think I did once one that I said quit applying, and people thought I had three heads. They lost their mind. And I remember that. And then a year later, I redid it. I reshared it. And again, people had, I may do it again because it just, people went nuts.
Yeah. It creates a sort of a visceral reaction, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And so I'm thinking, it's just one of those things. So, I don't know what to say other than, I'm probably going to do that. I think I'm going to, that's a great idea actually. So, yeah.
What I do, this is what I'm definitely going to talk about for the next 5 weeks, is that I do a blog post. And if that blog post takes off, I try and work out what happened and I do it again. This is exactly how I managed to get, all those speaking gigs about Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I did this blog post about RTMP. What is RTMP? absolutely out of control, my worst performing content ever. 80 views total.
Wow.
I thought, well, okay, no one's interested in that topic. I'm not doing that again. I could have just for an experiment, but I just had a gut feeling that it would fail again.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next day I thought, okay, let's try a different tack. What is AEO? SEO for AI. You know, massive, like 400 views overnight. Same amount of effort for me, different topic.
Right.
Man, this is good. AEO and GEO, right? And then we discovered this tool. I don't know if you've used it yet, but this tool that Richard invented. Have you tried his new tool?
Yeah, I have. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so every time I do a blog post, I reference this tool, which is called Savannah Bay, and it gives you a score out of 100 for what Google wants, what people want now. Forget what we think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, I don't think anyone's searching Google anymore. Maybe they are, but the point is that people search differently. Yeah, the world has changed, and this tool gives you 10 different points on what you can do to make sure that people find you.
Right.
Right. And this is pretty hilarious. Merico had said to me, I know you're doing all this work, Keith. Is your stuff getting indexed? Are you showing up in Google? So he Googled me. Right. This is a cool story. He Googled me in Toronto. Who is Keith Keller? Right. And the response he got was, actually, there's quite a few people called Keith Keller, but by far the most famous one is a guy living in Melbourne.
What?
And I thought, because I know there's 175 Keith Kellers on LinkedIn, because I
Right.
can't get keithkeller.com. Someone has that I can't get it. Someone's got that
Mhm.
URL. So, you know, it's working. If anyone wanted to know if I was a person and of worth, they could just
Right.
Google Keith Keller and it comes up. Well, actually, Keith's a bit of a dude. He's doing these shows and he's pretty funny. You know, here's the link
Mhm.
and here's his blog and here's his Substack and here's his YouTube channel and he was on Twitter for a while and here's his LinkedIn account. So I think it's extremely important that we actually do this research. And I don't think it's vanity. Like,
No.
I don't think there's much, and like I do this all the time. Yesterday's show on YouTube had 7 views. 7. You know, why am I doing that? What is the point of me doing those shows if 7 people watch them? It's a waste of my time. But it's not really, because I just tag it on. I'm already doing the show. I just add YouTube to it. But
Right.
7 people watched it. Well, what is that? I wouldn't get out of bed for that. Luckily, I've got so many other things to do, and the show is fun to do. So that's the first question I want to ask people on the show. The second question is, when you actually do share it, where are you going to put it?
Right.
So if, for instance, you worked out, this is a very good question. If you, for instance, worked out that the topic quit applying works and you did a blog post about it, where else could you put it? Could you do a video about it? Could you do a podcast about it? Could you write an article about it? Could you put it in the newspaper? Could you go on
Yeah.
TV? Right? So repurposing is all about taking content that's working and then putting it somewhere else for additional reach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with that in mind, I want you to contact Americo about this, because there's a person in his community. Are you part of his school?
I am. I'm in there, but I'm even my own school. I'm not in it that much.
Well, anyway, you might be interested in this, because I know this is what you've been talking about. There's a person in Americo's school community who has access to 5 independent video networks that are actively looking for content. And collectively, those 5 networks have 50 channels that have put up their hand to say they will accept content in video format.
Mm-hmm.
So this person's job is to vet your content and find best channel for it.
Okay.
So it fits in with this idea. Once you work out what content is working, where else can you put it?
How much does the person charge, or do
I
you know?
don't know her story, but obviously there would be a fee. But how is your video content going? Is because I know you talked about going on Roku and going on some of these other channels. Did you
Well,
get that show up and running?
I'm about to, and I'm counting on what's his Convalin, the one Zakia's doing to help me get that off the ground, because I'm just going to run my content through there, bam, 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 and put it up.
But that's audio only, right?
I'm okay with that right now. It's like,
Yeah, that's okay.
it's better, and I can always come back later and do the video. Right? Let's launch the show. Number one. Right?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's what Billy was talking about, wasn't it? Like
Mhm.
if you start from the point of view that it's got to be a video, that it's got to be an audio, that it's got to be a blog post, that you've got to have a website, that you've got to do live gigs, then you just won't start because there's too many things. But if you just do it as a podcast and do it and get it out and get momentum, you can add video later, can't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. So I won't too much talk about that because you're not ready. But this, I am so fascinated by the idea that people would watch two people talking on a couch. I just can't get my head around that. I mean, what are they talking about? I mean, do you do that? Do you watch two people talking on the couch? You're like, hey, guess what? Went and got pizza last night. Oh, that's pretty good. How many kids do you have? I got 6 kids, and they all love pizza too. And we went out last night and got a pizza. Yeah, well, what's that about? Well, I love pizza, and you got to have a job to be able to pay that for that. And I've got a good job, and I love pizza. And I'm not into that. I'm just not into real life. Like I'm not into people talking about banal real life things.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, apparently there's a market for this, and I'm sorry if I'm being disrespectful for anyone who's got a show about making pizzas and sitting on the couch. But I'm just not into that. But anyway, there's a person in America's platform that is. Yeah, so that'll help.
That's pretty interesting. I definitely would want to know more. So I may have to pop in there. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, and the other thing about repurposing is the concept of how to do it, and that's why Zakia's site is so good, isn't it? It's a tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I really like it. So I'm hoping she has a lot of success with it, to be honest. So yeah, I just can't wait. I think it will solve a lot of my problems, and that's what's important to me right now. Is that let's get this show off the ground, and go from there.
We have an audience member that says she does watch content of people sitting on the couch talking about pizza. Indra, I got to get my head around that. I mean, I'm just so fascinated by why anyone would do that, but I guess there's lots of ways to fill in time if you've got time to spare. Is the content interesting? Is it insightful? Maybe it's someone in another country. I guess it's a bit like Periscope. Did you like Periscope, Bez?
I did. I started with Meerkat, and then Meerkat went away, and then Periscope. But it was I was working a 9 to 5, barely had time. So it just wasn't sort of something that served a purpose for me at that point. So that's more around that.
Yeah.
Wasn't that it was just. When you have kids and you're doing all sorts of stuff, it just became hard to even participate, but
well, there's a good point. I don't know if you can see the chat. Indra's saying, isn't late night TV in the US just two people sitting on a couch?
Mm-hmm.
And true. Today's guest is Chris Martin. Yeah, what are you doing? Well, nothing. Well, what do you mean nothing? I've got you on the couch here. What are you doing? Oh, I've got a gig tonight. You can come if you like. I'm in town for the day. I get you. I get you. I don't watch those shows either. But you're right. Late night TV in the US is just two people talking on a couch. One famous person talking to another famous person. One person's famous for being the interviewer, and the other person's famous and is being interviewed. I get it. I get that that's a format. I get that that exists as a format. I personally really dislike Periscope. Like, it was off the charts. It's a waste of time for me, but we're all different. We're all different. So we're talking about repurposing. How can we repurpose our content? And especially, this is a very important point, Bez, 50 million users now on Substack, 50 million,
Oh, wow.
80 million visitors every month. It's a thing. Like, it's an ecosystem. How can we use our content on Substack? And this is the big one. Can we use Substack Studio? Have you tried it? Have you heard of it?
I have heard about it, but I have not used it yet. What can you tell me about it?
So Substack has a live streaming format, which is
Yep.
quite basic, and we tried it. And the live streaming version, which came first, allows for a maximum of 3 people. I'll
Okay.
share a shot of this. And for a very long time, it was only available if you had the courage to go live streaming. And if you didn't, you missed out.
Mhm.
Now what they've done is they've decided that you can have all of the features of the live streaming idea without having to live stream. You can pre-record content in your own time, and if you don't like it, you can just delete it. So what I'm going to do, and we did a bit of an experiment with this, what I'm going to do in July, I'm not going to do any live shows. I'm going to set aside 3 days a week to interview people using Substack Studio, and I'm going to pull it apart, see if it's worth doing.
So it won't be live, but you'll do it on studio and interview people.
Yeah, and it'll look like this.
How many people can you have on there?
Maximum of 2 guests, maximum.
Okay.
Pisses me off a bit, but what I'm going to do, I'm very proud of this. I'm extremely excited to try it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a generic conversation, get the levels right, get the mic work, and make it sound good, and then I'll push record in my own time, and then I'll spend about 5-10 minutes interviewing them and try and get some goodies out of that. And
Right.
from that interview, I'll make a blog post and I'll create smaller videos. And I'm very excited to try it because, and you've seen this happen many times. At 2 minutes to 10, the assigned guest turns up, her mic wasn't working. She dropped out. And at 2 minutes past 10, she's thinking, I'm still having trouble. Well, now we're late. I gave you the link at 9:15, 7:15 for you. I've had 45 minutes to fuck around with this. Why are you calling in 2 minutes before? And now we're 2 minutes late. Oh, I'm sorry. She couldn't get it working. And so I had to go live without her. And we had to work it out on the fly. This is probably my number one pain point. So with Substack Studio, we don't have to go live. We'll just record when you're ready. If you're busy or you got a call or you can't get your mic working, I'll wait. And when we get it working, I'll push record. Now, the thing that's really powerful about this is that Substack allows for up to 5-minute videos as a note.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record some content and let it flow. And then I'm going to edit it down to 5-minute videos, which you can do inside of Substack Studio. It's included. And it includes the subtitles in their ceremonial orange color. And so there's going to be a couple of advantages for me on this. One is I don't have to worry about live sound and guests not turning up, which happens to me like every week.
Wow.
I can wait for the guest to turn up when they're ready. We can get the sound right. Then I can push record so it'll sound better. And then I'm getting these really lovely 5-minute snippets, which I mean, I can make them 10 seconds. I can make them any length, but Substack allows up to 5 minutes. Right. And
Right.
from that video, I'm going to create a blog post because we will have the content, and then that will inspire a whole written version. Right. And I was saying before that I'm seriously asking the question now of whether I should continue with these live shows.
Well, my point of view is, if it's, hey boss, I want to try something that works less than 1%. What do you think?
Yeah, same. Like what I've done now, I'm very excited about this idea. I have enough songs that I've written using Suno. Written is a strong word, created.
Mm-hmm.
I have enough songs now using Suno that I could do a 1-hour show and not repeat the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I could say, and I've done this, I've gone 44 minutes. That's my record so far. I spoke to myself for 44 minutes.
Okay.
Waiting for people to come. And I just ran out of songs. So I made more songs. So what I've got now is I've got enough songs to run a show for 1 hour if no one comes.
Okay.
And if no one comes, then I'll just stop and I'll go to the beach.
There you go.
Right. And if that happens more than 3 or 4 times in a row, that might be my warning signal that says, look, I think this idea is dead now. You know, it's summer there. You know, you're going to go out for ice cream and look at pretty girls on the beach. You don't want to be hanging out with some old guy in Australia in the middle of the night. You'd rather go to the beach and eat pizza.
Right. Right. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, that's, I don't.
What I'm saying is that I'm examining. I'm at the point now where I'm examining whether live streaming is still relevant. You know, and I'm happy if it. I'm very happy if it is because I love doing it. But I can tell you for sure, it's very, very, very difficult to talk to yourself for an hour if there's no one there. It's a skill. It's a skill I could develop. So I've got about 12 songs I can play. And then and this has happened. I just simply say, look, I've run out of songs. No one's come. I'm going to go. I'm deleting this file. You won't even know it happened. And you don't, because it's nowhere to be seen. I just delete it.
It goes away.
Yeah. But Indra is actually asking a really good question, or making a statement here. It sounds like live streaming, both audio and video, have much more unnecessary risks than delayed broadcasting. What would you think about that, Bez, if you had to choose?
Okay, so say that question again one more time.
Yeah. It sounds like live streaming, audio or video, has more unnecessary risks than delayed broadcasting.
I think live is always risky. I mean, it always has, right? Because you can, the tech can go wrong, right? And tech, you can always say, hey, tech, count on tech going wrong, right? And when you do that, then you're in a better place, right? Because so I think they have a great point. I really do.
Yeah, they are chalk and cheese. Like we had this same discussion about recording. I don't know if you know this, but it's a very good example. Aerosmith records everything with everyone in the room.
Okay.
Now, why they do that is because the bass player is bouncing off the drummer, and the singer bounces off the guitarist, and the keyboard player throws to the rhythm guitarist, and they play as a band, right? And they believe that the sound is more live, more vibey. But as a mixer, as an audio mixer, the guy's thinking, mate, there's a bass track in the drum pattern and the guitarist is singing over the harmony vocal, and it's fucking hard to edit because all of the sound is everywhere, right?
Right.
And someone asked them, well, why don't you record separately? Right. And then they said, well, can you imagine being a drummer sitting in a room playing drums with no people? How would you do it?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? Right. So the bass, maybe the bass player and the drummer play together. That's common. And then the singer might just come over the top and sing, and then the guitarist fills in the bits. This is the most common form of recording. But the answer to risky is that it's very, very, very difficult to edit songs that have been recorded live because everyone's part is in everyone else's track.
Right.
But the vibe is there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever do podcasting ever again because I'm sick of it. I just the vibe isn't there, right? I bounce off the audience. You know, the audience is the content, and that's why I can't talk to myself for more than 1 hour, because if there's no one there, what is the point? Well, I mean, what is the point? I could walk around the house talking to myself. I do.
Okay.
That's actually what I do instead. I just walk around the house and pretend I'm being interviewed on the BBC. Oh, geez, that's a great question. I have actually thought of this, and I've got a pretty considered answer for your question, and I thank you for asking it. And then Carol sometimes works from home, and she goes, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to, Keith? Oh, I'm just talking to that phantom BBC presenter that one day I'll get an interview there. What? What are you talking about? Are you going crazy? Do we need to take you to a doctor or something? Are you losing your marbles? You getting dementia? So I might as well just talk to myself if I'm talking to myself, right?
Right.
Whereas like you look at the conversation we had today, we had 8 people online all together with an opinion, and the conversation was rich and full and dynamic, wasn't it?
Right. Absolutely.
You never get look, you might be able to fill me in on this. I don't listen to podcasts at all. I haven't listened to podcasts for 10 years. What do you listen to podcasts, and what do you like about them? I'm fascinated by this. Do you listen to podcasts?
Oh yeah, a lot. I'm in the shower, I'm listening to them. I'm in driving. I like podcasts because I see them very educational, or I'll listen to audiobooks.
Okay. And so you don't mind that someone has pre-recorded something and is talking to you,
I don't
but not
mind
with
it.
you. Yeah.
I mean, it's huge what happens, as a podcaster, or in that field. I think a lot of people like to consume on demand because it's just different, right? I mean,
yeah, there's no. I'm genuinely asking because I don't listen to them. I don't personally like them, and I'm fascinated to know why people like them. Like I would be fascinated to ask a person who watches, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, why they do it. Why are you watching these pretty girls dancing on the couch, trying on the least fashion? Maybe you love fashion. I don't know. I can't stand reality TV. I can't stand it.
Okay, I get it.
But I am fascinated to know that people do like it. Like we have this show here called Married at First Sight, which I think actually contravenes several really amazing sort of Geneva Convention laws. But, you meet this guy for the first time, you've never met him before, you get married on TV and you have a baby. And that's got to be wrong. Never met him before. Yes or no, get married, have sex, have a baby, come back on the show after the honeymoon, tell us what happened. Well, guess what? We split up.
Oh, yeah.
Married at first sight. I'm probably making a few people very angry now, but I think that is the stupidest idea for a show I've ever heard of.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well,
okay. Diary of a CEO, and yep. So, okay, that's a very good one. Diary of a CEO. Let's play with this. Let's pick up on this. This is a very good discussion to have, Indra. Um, I am actually quite annoyed by the idea that the word podcasting now refers to people that talk into a mic on camera. Right? I accept it. Video killed the radio star, but it's wrong. You know, podcasting was invented in 2004 when the iPod started casting. iPod casting. Right? It was an audio only format. But you might be fascinated to know that in 2009, December 2009, Joe Rogan did a show in his basement and 250 people watched it and they called it a podcast. And from that day forward, two people talking on camera into a microphone is now officially called a podcast. Right. Now, I never watch these, never. But Diary of a CEO is a very famous one. Have you ever seen that, Bez?
Yeah, I've heard of the podcast. I think I've listened to a little bit of it. But it's really not on my rotation, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. So a dude talks to a very famous person about how they became famous. What did you do? What's your thing? What's your thinking about this? I get it. You know, a good interviewer talking to a famous person who has something to say. I understand why that popular. I haven't heard of Conan Needs a Friend, but I don't know if that's Conan O'Brien. But if you've got time, Indra, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What we're actually talking about is the concept of repurposing. Now, obviously, in order to repurpose properly, you've got to know a bit about what your audience wants. So if your blog posts work really well in the written form, maybe they might also work as a podcast. That's an extra load. That's an extra task. But maybe they might, because we're talking about multiplicity now. We're talking about a concept that's working in one format and creating content in another. And in regards to 30-30, Bez, I'm not going to hold you to this, but can you imagine there's 30 pieces of content that you would like to create? And if you had that, if you could wave a magic wand and on the 1st of July have 30 pieces of content sitting in a box, what would they be?
They would be about careers, entrepreneurship. They would be about AI and leadership. Those 4 areas really interest me a lot, and I have a lot to say. And then also the 5th one would be about recruiting, and so recruiting, HR type of stuff, which is boring, but yeah, those are
don't strategize there. What I'm thinking is, okay, you've got these 5 topics. What format would they be in?
They would be, I would focus on audio. I would record video, but I would focus on getting the audio first, get that right, and then I would come back later, because what I want the show to be is self-funded, right? I don't want to spend a lot of money. I want it to be self-funded.
You want it to generate clients? Yeah.
Yeah, generate clients / revenue. So the whole purpose of my show is to generate clients. And so
this is good. I'm going to ask this question every week. If you could wave a magic wand and have 30 pieces of content in a bucket ready to go, what would they be? Now, you've got your 5 topics you want to talk about, and you're saying, and this is good because the words are coming out of your mouth, you want those to be in audio format.
Yeah.
If I was to ask myself that same question, which will happen, I would write 30 blog posts.
Okay.
Right? But I'm very open to the idea of repurposing things And so this is why I'm asking this question. I personally don't watch videos. I don't like them. I don't want to do them, but I get that other people want to watch them. So I might play around with it as time allows, but it would be as a ancillary idea. And I don't watch videos, so I'm not inclined to know even what to do. And I'm not even sure I can be bothered learning. But if other people want it, I will do it. And this is why I keep asking the question, what's working? Because there's no point doing things for other people. Like, I'll give you a really good example. People say, mate, if you did a show on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Melbourne time, I would come. All right, no worries, I'll do that. Where were you? Oh, I'm so sorry. Dog got sick. Wife's in hospital. Yep, okay. Well, that's the third time. You've always got an excuse. Your grandmother died. Your car broke down. You know, there's always an excuse. I did a show at 12 o'clock Thursday for you, and you didn't come. Right? I'm pretty pissed off. Yeah. Well, just life gets busy. Right? So I've decided now that I've got to do content that I want to do. I'm not doing content I don't want to do because people say they want it, because they don't.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, you can spin your whole world around what people think they want. And I don't watch videos. I don't want to do them. So people who want videos they just don't access. They just don't have my skill set. They just don't have my content. Too bad. You know? It's like if you went to see this heavy metal band that says, well, mate, you don't do any ballads. Yeah, well, we don't do ballads. We're a heavy metal band. Heavy metal bands do ballads, but we just don't have any in this set. Yeah, well, you know, I like ballads. Well, don't come to the gig. Go and see Taylor Swift or, you know, some other band. Ed Sheeran. You know, we don't do ballads. We're a heavy metal band. So, you know, sometimes you got to stand up for yourself and do what works. But what you said was very important. If you could wave a magic wand and have 30 pieces of content sitting in a bucket, they would be audios. And the videos will come later. You didn't even mention blog posts. You didn't even mention it.
Well, here's the beauty of it. If I can do audio, then I can get that transcribed. Then I can, you know, make a post, a blog post out of that, blog post, whatever. And I can put on Substack. I can cut it down, you know, but once I get the audio, then I can massage it to make it a blog post. And that's my method. Now, for me, if I go from text to audio, I just naturally will go from audio to text, right? So that's just my approach.
Wow. In our home, we watch lots of YouTube on our smart TV, and there are lots of podcasts from right around the world to engage with. Wow. I keep hearing this story. I don't understand it, but I keep hearing this story. I watch Netflix. I'm watching a show called Stargate, which is basically a ripoff of Star Trek, and I love it. Oh, I love it. And when I get sick of that, I watch this show called Bones, which is set in Washington, I think. We watch TV, right? Maybe I am really a boomer. I've still got a landline. So that's fascinating, Indra. I'm just so fascinated by the way the world plays around. What would you do if you could wave a magic wand and have 30 pieces of content? What would they be? I'm going to keep coming back to that every week because it is content. You know, it's 30-30. What would you have? You mentioned that if you had the audio, you could do the transcript. What would you use for the transcript?
What would I use for the transcript? The transcripts, I can run it through AI and get, you know, because it'll be my voice, and I can get some draft copy of and I can play around with that, or I can take the transcripts myself and just do something with them, like come up with an article, because see, I'm going to have a theme when I talk, right? It's going to be organized. So I already have a sketch, like, you know, show notes and and some bullet points. What I don't like to do is to write everything word for word, because you give me the point, then I'll riff on it, and I'll have my research and my data, and I'll be able to talk in a more fluid manner. I don't like to read stuff. Now, maybe that's something I need to learn, but right now, it's not my thing.
Have you asked the question what your audience wants?
No, I never have, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's I gotta be able to do what I can do. Like,
Of
Keith, I've
course.
been here a year, haven't launched, so I got to figure out a method. So I can ask that question later. Like I actually have asked my cohort what's their pain points, and I've asked people. I've sort of been doing research for the last several years, and I know what pain points. What are the pain point when it comes to careers? So I'm pretty tuned in on that. I mean, I talk to people day in and day out, and they share their frustrations, and I'm having difficult conversations with people because they're trying to do this. They're trying to bang their head against the wall and convince someone else that success is around the corner when you're 99 degrees away from success. You're 99 percentage points away. It's not a good.
Yeah, I love your angle. That could even be a TED talk, I reckon.
It could, man. You know.
Now it's getting late. There, do you need to go? I'm happy to wrap it up. If
working on a thing here, so I need. I'm doing a couple things at the same time, but yeah, I'll survive.
Yeah. Look, so what I'll do, if you need to go, we can wrap it up if it's getting late. I'm gonna finish this show on this idea, and I'm gonna come back to it next week. If you could wave a magical wand and have 30 pieces of content, what would they be? Now, this is because this is what the show's about, 30-30. So I'll play the theme song again. We'll wrap it up. Next, I'm doing 5 of these, Bess, so come and do your thing. Next week, I'd like you to have an answer to this question. What is your best performing content?
That's fair.
Your top 5.
I will do that. I'll look that up.
Yeah. So, and just even being able to find that would be a good one. So, I think we're onto something with this concept. Repurpose 30-30. I'm gonna go have some lunch, get myself ready, maybe make a blog post out of this, and get ready for the next show. So, mate, you have a good night, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care, and good catching up with you.
Repurpose 30-30. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen. Yeah. Got a post from last year still hitting like gold. Buried in the feed, but the story's still bold. Turn it to a video, spin it to a show. Same idea, new life, watch it overflow. Why start over when you already know there's a spark in the archive ready to glow? Repurpose 30-30. Every channel, every screen. From a moment to a movement. Make your content evergreen. Blog to a podcast, click to a reel. Different kind of magic, but it's all the same feel. Scrolling different platforms, reaching new eyes. Same core message, just a new disguise. You don't need new when the old still shines. Just reshape the signal, multiply the lines. Repurpose 30.